All right, camera is on. Welcome to the Unite Mutual regular board meeting, open session. And we have quorum. Julia is sick, and Tony is here. All right. Okay, since we have a quorum, I'd like to call the meeting regular open meeting of the Unite Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors, a California nonprofit mutual benefit corporation. Today's date is Tuesday, June the 10th, time 9:30 a.m. at the boardroom, and also virtual meeting is available at Laguna Woods Village Community Center, 24351 El Toro Road, Laguna Woods, California. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the regular Unite Mutual Board meeting in accordance with Civil Code 4930 and was held hereby noticed to accordance with Civil Code 4920. This time we're going to have a Pledge of Allegiance to the flag led by Director Prater.
Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any media present? None. And we are on TV6 live. Thank you. Let's approve of agenda. I'd like to add one addendum item. You have it. Resolution requests a special corporate member meeting, which is going to be at 12F, new business. New business F, 12F. So with that addendum, and is there any other addition to the agenda? Mr. Tony.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since the agenda has already been published and agreed to, it takes a 2/3 majority to put this on the agenda now.
Addendum?
It's not, wasn't, we have a printed agenda. It's already been.
Okay.
And so to adjust that now requires a 2/3 majority.
Okay, so are we voting that we're going to add this addendum on our regular agenda? It's a second. Do we have a second?
Sure.
Do we have a second? Okay.
Yes, second.
Okay. Should we vote?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Yes, vote. Addendum added on the agenda. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So do we have a 2/3?
Yeah.
Georgiana?
I missed some of what you were saying.
Oh, okay. We have. Okay.
Adding this to the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So 7. All right. So can we vote again? If you approve the addendum item on the agenda, can you raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 8. All right, 8. So it's good. Thank you very much. So with that addendum, are we ready to vote our agenda? Any objection to approve agenda? No objection. So approved. Okay. Approval of the meeting minutes. Is there any addition, correction, subtraction from the previous meeting minutes? Hearing none, so approved. Okay, report of chair. Again, welcome. And I'd like to welcome and introduce our new director on our board, Ms. Yes, Maggie?
Points of order. I believe we need to approve each set of minutes separately. Is that right?
No, we don't.
No,
Okay.
we don't have to.
Okay,
right?
thank you. Never
We've been
mind.
doing that way. Okay, all right, you surprised me. Okay, so now Chair's comment. Item number 5, right? Okay. I'd like to introduce our brand new director, Elsie Addington. She's new board on this board, term ending 2026. She was elected on Friday, filling our vacancy. However, she's not a new member because she's been serving on the board many times, the previous times, United Mutual and also GRF, and she also served as an advisor. So she is an experienced one and good addition to us. So thank you and welcome. Okay. Well, actually, this is, again, the budget season and election season, so we have a lot of things going on. So I suggest all the members and the residents pay attention to the calendar and be a part of it as much as you can, because this is your all business and your agenda items. I'm not going to just give a lengthy explanation here, but you can always check it and be a part of it. Well, I wrote a present letter emailed to the resident last week, but I like to make one specific point: construction to bring things, ultra-fast fiber internet network to Laguna Village, because the construction already began Monday, June 9th, officially, in the southeast section of the community near Gate 1 through 4. Team crews will be working carefully near homes to install handhold boxes, which are underground access points that make it easier to manage fiber connection long term. Crews will also mark and locate utility lines to ensure safe installation. You may notice temporary paint markings underground during this phase. And these are harmless and will naturally fade over time. And Ting is committed to maintaining clean, well-organized work areas and minimizing disruption throughout the process. And disturbed ground will be restored, and all construction materials will be removed once work is complete. Clear signage will identify active work zones and will move along as the project progresses. What you are getting, this construction is the first step toward delivering next generation internet and TV services to every Laguna Woods Village resident through our partnership with Ting Internet. Here's what's going on. It's coming. Blazing fast fiber internet with symmetrical speeds of 2,000 megabyte points. Upgraded entertainment with 100 plus streaming TV channels via direct TV stream, and popular apps like Max Plus and Paramount Plus and Showtime included at no extra cost, built-in saving compared to today's average monthly broadcast and TV cost. The details will be always available on your website and through our communication, continuously. And thank you for those who are involved in this project. That will conclude my comment. Let's move on to open forum. 3 minutes per speaker is allowed. At this time, members only may address the board of directors regarding items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of this board of directors. This board reserves the right to limit the total amount of time allotted for the open forum to a total 30 minutes. A member may speak only once during the forum. Speakers may not give their time to other people. No audio or video recorded by attendees, and no rude or threatening comments. Members can attend the meeting by joining the Zoom link, which is on the agenda, or call the number 669-900-6833, or email meetings@vmsinc.org to have your message read during the open forum. Now, do we have open forum speaker?
Yes, our first speaker is Dr. Elizabeth Romano.
Thank you for your time. I'm here to talk to you about fiduciary issues, and speaking on behalf of the community, we find out that we don't have the monies that we put into your hands in a bank. They're not safe, they're not accountable, and they're not insured. And this is not okay. And so they want you to be removed, because this is what we work for our whole lives, and it's being squandered, and we don't know where, and it's not acceptable. Second point is that I was retaliated against, and that's not okay. I was chased around my house, over my bed, into my shower, into my bathroom, and removed from my house with my pajamas on. Okay? This is not funny. Okay? This is elder abuse. It's all kinds of violations, and it's going to cost the community here a lot of money. Last time I was removed from this podium here, out of the meeting, it's going to cost you $5 million. That's what the CEO in Huntington Beach thought she could do, and to stop the input from the community. It's not okay. So I have developed cancer from your retaliation. It was that intense. And just recently, you hung a camera down in my patio on its stick. Okay, you're taking pictures of inside my house. This is beyond what you should be doing. This is all kinds of violations, and it's acceptable and supported by the CEO here. Okay, that's all I have to say. We want the money. We're going to have somebody from corporate compliance come and get the money so we can get it in a bank and get insurance and have some peace of mind. And retaliating against people is evil. Come on. You made me have cancer. That has been a horrible sentence that I have for speaking up on behalf of people. Shame on you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the next are the Pacellas.
Thank you. So on behalf of my wife Dorothy and myself, Manor 65E, this is a special thank you to all the board members for all of your good volunteer work. As residents of this remarkable community, we all benefit from the dedication of those who serve on our 5 governing boards. These boards make critical decisions that shape our daily lives, from budgets to amenities to long-term planning. As you know, we are in a general election cycle to select new mutual board directors. And we can help by encouraging more volunteers to run for these positions. A few residents and former board directors, committee members, and advisors have arranged a village-wide town hall meeting to encourage and assist volunteers to run for these positions. Please join us for this village-wide town hall meeting at 10 a.m. to noon on Wednesday, June 18th at the PAC Theater. This gathering is a crucial opportunity for all of us to understand the decisions that will shape the future of our community. This town hall will provide valuable insight into how decisions are made, and more importantly, how residents can contribute to these decisions. And we need to make sure that all voices are heard. We urge all residents, directors, committee members, advisors of all mutuals, and all governing boards to attend and take part in this important meeting. The strength and future of our community depends on everyone's involvement. Sincere thank you to all the board members. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Okay, and next speaker is Chris Collins.
Good morning, Chris Collins, 3306Q, and I'm here with another update on the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village, which we do on behalf of residents who are experiencing temporary financial crisis. So today I want to tell you the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village was chosen as a 2025 California Nonprofit of the Year by Assemblywoman Diane Dixon. The Foundation of Laguna Woods is proud to announce it's been selected as a 2025 California Nonprofit of the Year by Diane Dixon. The foundation is one of more than 100 nonprofits that were honored at the state senators and assemblymen for outstanding contributions to the communities that they serve. Since its start 28 years ago, the foundation is the village's very own charity, and it steps in to provide temporary financial assistance for residents that are facing financial challenge. Working with the village social services staff, assistance is confidential and limited just to residents. In addition, the foundation provides funding towards Meals on Wheels, Alzheimer's, daycare, transportation to the food pantry, emergency response devices, and most recently, hearing aids. Most recently, it also is mounting a public education effort on emergency preparedness. The foundation's ability to continue as a resource, according to the foundation's president, Marcy Scheinwald, is a tribute to the village who has sustained it over the years. The individual and club donations have ensured that help is available for our neighbors. Being chosen as 2025 Nonprofit of the Year by the Assemblyman Dixon is a tribute to the whole village. We are grateful for the work of the Foundation of Laguna Woods Village and want to extend our congratulations for this well-deserved recognition, said Jeff Green, CEO of California Association of Nonprofits. This is the sponsor of this initiative. Nonprofits provide services, advocate for our most vulnerable neighbors, and enrich the lives of all Californians. From the child care programs to the soccer team, from the art classes to the health clinic, from the community organizer to the animal shelter, nonprofits make our communities strong. Now in its 10th year, the California Nonprofit Year initiative provides the opportunity for each California state senator to recognize a nonprofit organization doing outstanding work in their district. The program culminated with a celebratory luncheon, which was on May 21st in Sacramento. The program is sponsored by the nonprofits with the partnership with the state assembly and selected committees on the national sector. This focuses on advocacy, education, research to build a more powerful and politically engaged nonprofit network across the state. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next speaker is Deborah August.
I would not take any one of your jobs for anything. Honestly, I know how hard it is. Thank you. I do want to talk about the elevator situation at Building 86, where I feel that the contract was not looked out our interest in that contract. We did not have a deadline or a penalty deadline for the contractor to complete the process. We don't feel like the feasibility study was done appropriately because all of everything changes, all the requirements change, we know that, but that's what our feasibility study money was supposed to have taken care of. But now we still don't have an elevator. We gave our money in December of 2024, over $100,000. I don't know any company in the universe that would not have protection installed in the contract regarding the protection for the people who put up the money. Had I looked back at this now, I would have had an attorney come in and take care of that. We have no elevator. It was committed by April 20th. May 20th passed. They still don't have the electricity part done. We don't have an elevator, and we have no recourse. I think that in the future, an attorney should be involved because you are representing us. You are here to guide us and help us as the residents who pay the fees. So we have no elevator, our interest money is gone, and we still don't have any answers. We keep getting different stories from every project manager, which I'm not appreciative of, and we still don't know what's going on. Now they say it's Southern California Edison that's supposed to be responsible and have to come in, but we've had outside electrical companies come in to make supposedly make it work, and it still doesn't work. Honestly, I almost think I should get an attorney now because we are losing interest on our money, and we still don't have an elevator. In addition, these items that I have passed around are other liability issues that need to be taken care of. Having worked for liability attorneys for most of my life, I know that these things are all dangerous and can result in judgments against the United Board or the United Community, which again then reflects our fees and our dues. So I appreciate someone who would take care of us getting the elevator intact. If we don't have any power with Southern California Edison, then I don't know what we need to do.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. And any other
Yes,
speaker
the
before
final
we
s-
respond? Yeah,
Yeah, final speaker is Michael Landry.
okay.
Michael Landry, 693B. My situation is not quite as dire as this, thankfully. I'd like to address the feeding of wild animals in this village. Please. I read an article in a letter in the Globe last couple of weeks ago about the fruit trees being a problem. No, it's not the fruit trees. It's the feeding of squirrels, baby. I don't know how the squirrels ever survived before we joined the village. They're getting fat. They're rodents. I don't like squirrels. I don't like rodents. And I keep thinking, please have a heart attack, you little booger. But what are we going to do next? Knit booties for them? Little caps when it's cold? Really, don't feed them. It's actually not as much feeding of the squirrels as much as feeding the birds. People feed birds. Seeds fall on the ground. Squirrels eat off the ground. They figure out how to get in the stupid feeders. And again, they're getting fatter and fatter and fatter. And someday, somebody is going to get bitten by a squirrel, because as I walk around the trail along the creek, people are feeding them. They're sitting on benches and feeding the little darlings and bring them cake. Well, people, they are wild animals. They don't need to be fed. So, can we do something about the bird feeders to start with? And we won't have fat little heart attacks waiting to happen. And that's my deal for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You're a very good storyteller. Thank you. All right, any more speakers? No, okay, then we need to respond to the speakers if we do. So Siobhan, can you please
I have an
respond?
update on the elevator,
Okay.
please. And this is from Manuel Gomez, our Maintenance and Construction Director. Southern California Edison has completed the required inspections. We are now waiting for SCE to install the new electric meter. Once the new meter is installed, our contractor will complete the phone line installation and schedule the final inspection by the state. We hope to have the new lift in operation by the end of the month, subject to SCE and state inspector availability.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Yes, Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, in our response here, it also mentions it has to be inspected by the state also?
Yes,
Thank you.
they inspect all elevators.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other comments on any of the speakers? Yes, Jeannie.
I'm speaking for myself, but I'm hoping I'm speaking for the rest of us here, to Chris Collins and to the Laguna Wood Foundation by saying congratulations, well-deserved, and we completely support and applaud all of your efforts and this wonderful, wonderful recognition.
Thank you. Any other response? Tom? Oh, okay. Yes, Madam Secretary.
Yes, thank you. I commend the Pacellas on having a town hall. We used to have town halls and things like that by Friends of the Village, which was a large club at the time. And it's very useful to round up people who want to hear about what it's like to be a director. And so this is a very, very good and useful town hall. I hope people appear. I hope it's publicized. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tom first, and then Elsie.
Thanks. I just want to agree with Michael about the feeding of the squirrels and birds, and it's the very reason why I don't vote for the removal of fruit trees and everything, because fruit trees aren't the problem. The peanuts being tossed from balconies, the bird feeders that have seeds on them dropping all over the place, and that create much more food for the rodents than the fruit trees do. And so I just, when it comes to the fruit trees, I don't vote to remove them for that very reason.
Thank you. All right, Elsie, please.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, unlike Mr. Landry, I adore squirrels, but I agree with him 1,000% in terms of feeding them, okay? It's not fair to wild animals. And my colleague, Mr. Tuning, I get what he's saying. However, I would take it one step further. The problem with the fruit trees maybe is not exacerbating the rodent problem as much as people think. However, there wouldn't be a problem if people would maintain their fruit trees or get rid of them. So I'd like to put in a word for cleaning up your own mess in a lot of ways. And stop feeding those squirrels, as cute as they are. They're just not, it's not healthy for them. It's not healthy for us. Thank you.
Okay, Director Prater, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to just bring up a matter that was been talked about before regarding fruit trees and vegetable plants around the buildings. Right now, landscape is looking at the fruit trees that are there, and if they are not being maintained by a person in that unit, okay, they will be removed. However, if a person does say, I will maintain that tree and take care of it, okay, they will not remove it. A new owner coming in to a unit that has a fruit tree there is also to ask at the time they're getting their unit if they want that fruit tree to maintain or if they want it removed. So we did put that process in order. Landscaping is doing it. There's a lot of fruit trees out there, and I'm sure they're going to eventually get this cleaned up. I love them too, but they have to be maintained. So that process is in effect of just, I think, last month by landscape. So we should see some changes, but it'll be slow like everything else. We have to do it properly. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Kwam.
Yes, thank you. I am worried about the coyotes, and I walk 2 dogs every day, and I'm scared of them. And they rotate through our neighborhood, and we have been told over and over again, call the city, do this, do that. And basically, you say, I see little carcasses around, and I was just scared, but nothing seems to happen. And I don't know what to do about that, except maybe to go to the city council. Perhaps that's our next step. I don't know, but I do hear what you're saying. And my neighbors ask me all the time, what are we going to do about it? And, trying to get the food source away is at least one step that we could take. So I wish I had better news to offer. I'm in that boat too.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Ginny.
I have a question for Mr. Pacella. Can you give us a bit more information about the town hall? Who's going to be there? Who the subject matter experts are that people are going to be asking questions of? What type of format are we looking at here?
Okay, so I have a flyer here that anyone can pick up. Let's look at it as a 30 or 40,000 foot level of the village. So you've got GRF, VMS, Third, United, and 50. But there's no one that's looking at the whole picture. So what we've been asking for, and it really started with a handful of some former board members, some former presidents of boards, some former committee members and advisors. And it started with, you know, we have these elections and nobody runs for the elections. I mean, honestly and truly, when you have an election and nobody shows up, or one person shows up, whoever they are, there's no relevancy. That person could be the same person that ran for another board last week or last month, last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So as the village is getting younger, more people are moving in, but they're not getting the message. And this is the honest to God's truth. The majority of the people that I talk to in the village don't know which manor they live, which mutual they live in. So how can they possibly be able to volunteer for something if they don't know? This community has the largest volume of highly qualified people. The people that retire here are captains of industry, education, engineering, but they're not being asked to run for the boards unless they specifically read everything that gets printed. The Globe only goes to half the population.
Okay, thank you.
There's
Thank you very
18,000
much.
people here.
All right, thank you very much.
Doesn't answer my question.
And here are the flyers if anybody wants.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Oh, just a minute, Tony.
Because I was one of the
Thank you, Madam
organizers.
Chair.
Just
I
just a
also
minute,
like
sit down.
to dovetail on what he said. We have 6,323 members here. How many of them voted for directors? So it's not a problem with volunteers. Also, it's about people wanting to get involved, just to
Okay.
even vote.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dick?
I was one of the organizers.
Okay.
I'd just like to make a simple statement.
All right.
If you read the flyer, it will tell you exactly what's going to happen. It says there are two things. One, it will tell you how the boards make decisions. So it's educational.
Okay.
Number two, it will tell you how you can, the various ways that you can influence the decisions and have a voice. So it's not simply just running for the boards. It's educational. It's more than that. And that's why I would encourage everybody to come
Okay.
to hear what this entertaining, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be entertaining, presentation will be. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on to the response to past open forum speakers. Mr. Tony.
Thank you, Madam
Gilberto.
Chair.
Yes.
We had our Chris Collins gave us an update on the foundation, which we appreciate very much every time. And also we had Elizabeth Romano, 235A, made allegations regarding financial misconduct and alleged elderly abuse by village security. The response was Mrs. Romano has been informed on several occasions that there is no financial misconduct and no abuse by security. And then we had Catherine Bryant's 392B commented on a statement in the Globe made by a board of director regarding EV charging and the alleged offensiveness of the remarks. And this was so noted by staff. And also we had Andre Torn, 188B, suggested that the board create vision statements and goals to better improve management performance. And the comment was so noted. And the last one was from our former director, Marie Collins, regarding what this lady told us about the elevators being inspection. And I guess they have experienced some real trauma over the period.
Okay.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Tony. Okay, let's move on to CEO report.
Thank you,
Siobhan,
President.
thank you.
Honorable members of the board. This morning, I'd like to highlight the Employee Excellence Awards. These awards are presented yearly in the spring and fall to recognize outstanding employees who demonstrate excellent customer service, achieve great results on projects, and regularly go above and beyond their regular job duties. This spring's recipients include, from the Community Services Division, Jeff Spies. He's our Community Services Manager who made a seamless transition into management following the retirement of a beloved 30-year veteran, Pamela Bashline, that many people know. This reflects his deep commitment to the division's continued success. Also, Angelica Velasquez-Gonzalez from Community Services, who serves as a specialist. She's made an incredible impact in just 1 year since her promotion from resident services, mastering leasing operations, streamlining processes, and training new staff. In the Communications Division, Jenning Lai, Communications Associate, has distinguished herself as a results-driven professional with a strong record of achievement, most notably for her outstanding work on the new community website. Susan Logan McCracken, Communications Associate, seamlessly stepped in to lead the Village Breeze, bringing focus, creativity, and consistency to one of our most important resident-facing publications. From the Financial Services Department, Blake LaFonte, Senior Financial Analyst, is an exemplary employee who ensures the budget process runs smoothly, cross-trains colleagues, and rigorously tests the ERP module to meet the unique needs of the village. Ainsley Sangalang, our payroll supervisor, is a cornerstone of the payroll team, ultra-reliable, independent, and consistently contributing behind the scenes to enhance the payroll system. Kayla Ibali, payroll specialist, has excelled in just 18 months, mastering new responsibilities and eagerly taking on additional tasks to support the department. In our Compliance Division, Daniel Magnuson and Carlos Ortiz, compliance inspectors, they demonstrate exceptional attention to detail that supports a smooth, board-approved disciplinary process while their professionalism and courtesy help bring cases into compliance. In our Social Services Division, Kathy Villafana, Administrative Specialist, goes above and beyond to ensure every interaction is handled with care, accuracy, and a positive attitude, consistently creating a welcoming, efficient experience for our residents, families, staff, and vendors alike. In the Security Services Division, Melissa Avalos, Security Patrol Officer, demonstrates a strong work ethic, a commitment to learning, and a calm, effective presence under pressure, most recently shown during a DUI stop and while de-escalating a tense incident with a homeless individual. Our Landscaping Services Department recognized the landscaping supervisors. The gentlemen are listed on the screen before you. And most notably, they serve as the backbone of our operations with a combined 182 years of service to the community, which is just amazing. They lead from the front, working alongside their teams. They meet the challenges head-on and ensure that every task is completed with the highest standards of quality and safety. Also in the Landscaping Services Department, Luis Barreto, Senior Sprayer Lead, demonstrates exceptional dedication, professionalism, and leadership, consistently exceeding expectations and recently earning his QAL in categories A and B to further his professional growth. In our Recreation and Special Events Department, Renee Anderson from the Performing Arts Center has done an outstanding job coordinating box office and front of the house operations and is now leading the implementation of new box office software. Shun Ong, Recreation Coordinator, is an invaluable member of the department, bringing accuracy, attention to detail, and a calm, positive approach to every challenge, consistently earning praise from residents. In General Services, Juby Gonzalez is a Vehicle Inventory Control Specialist. He provides essential operational support to our mechanics, maintaining inventory, ordering parts, assisting vendors, and ensuring timely payments. Young Shik Chin is a part-time bus driver who's also a resident here. He is dedicated and always willing to go above and beyond and has maintained a perfect safety record for the 5 years he has served us and is beloved by residents for treating everyone with dignity, care, and respect. From the Maintenance and Construction Department, Jose Sija is a damage restoration supervisor who coordinates daily moisture intrusion events, while skillfully mitigating complaints and disputes with responsiveness, attention to detail, and outstanding customer service and de-escalation skills. Jessica Lozada, Inspector 1 for Manor Alterations. After taking night classes to prepare for advancement, was promoted to Inspector 1 and quickly embraced a temporary assignment, learning the inspection process and training new resales inspectors after an unexpected resignation. And lastly, in our Human Resources Department, Kimberly Camargo is an HRIS coordinator who brings great heart to human resources, not just through the systems she manages, but in how she sees the people behind the data. Her dedication, warmth, and blend of precision and empathy inspire deep respect. And the Human Resources team is shown on the screen before you. And this small team embodies the spirit of the Wizard of Oz, proving every day that they have the excellence, commitment, courage, and heart to face all challenges that come their way. I'm hoping you will join me in congratulating these and other outstanding VMS employees who serve our community every day.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
similar to what we did 6 months ago for the previous recipients, can we move that we send our congratulations, have your media and communication staff, I believe it was, send our congratulations along to these recipients, and adding our thanks from a grateful community.
Thank you so much. We will do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question to CEO? All right. Okay, let's move on to consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are the recommended for action by committee and will be enacted by the board by one motion. In the event that an item is removed from the consent calendar by members of the board, such item or items shall be the subject of further discussion and action by the board. So is there any item that you want to remove from the consent calendar? Nothing? Okay, so we all approve the consent calendar, right? Yes, thank you. Let's move on to, yes, Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just before I forget it, I'm interrupting. I notice these 5 liens. I'd like to get with staff to see if this is becoming some kind of an epidemic here. Are these liens because people can't afford to pay or not? We don't have to answer it right now, but I just don't want to forget to ask about it. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to unfinished business. Item 11A, disciplinary update report. Hello. Come on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning. Good morning. So before you is agenda item 11A. It's the disciplinary update report. This is the table before you is a breakdown of the disciplinary cases for the months of March to May of 2025. We started the month with 285 cases and ended the month of May with 391 cases. Overall, many of the categories we did see an increase across the board. In fact, 8 of the categories do have an increase or are higher than previous months. It's unclear right now if there's any pattern established or if there's an article or anything that went out that would trigger the phone calls and the complaints coming in. So we'll continue to monitor that as we go through the disciplinary process with these cases. But that concludes my report, so I'm available for questions if the board has any.
I do.
Yes, yes, Ginny.
Just a point of clarification for everyone. The cases that are here in May, they may have been hung over from March and April, right? They're not new cases. They're cases that have been started and not resolved yet. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a snapshot in time.
Okay, all right. So people aren't moving as quickly as we'd like them to resolve issues that they have been made aware of. That is the point I was trying to make. Is that correct?
Yes, but you also get people, I could start reporting on new cases and closed cases, because as many as we get new cases, we do get closed, they comply.
Right, but for example, clutter. We started April at 120, which went down from the previous month.
Right.
And now we've added 36 cases.
We did add 36 cases, but that might be, it's a churn. So it might be that we added 50 cases, but more came out, and so that's why we came down to 36.
But we're trending
So,
up, is my point.
We are trending up. It's
Yeah.
definitely, as of May, it started going upward, and that's when we're going to start tracking it to see if it's a trend or if
Yeah.
it's something. And usually when an article goes out of compliance, then we see an increase. That hasn't happened. In fact, we expect that to happen next month.
Oh, because if an article goes out for compliance and people go, oh, maybe I should call compliance
Yes.
about this neighbor that has been, or
Yes.
this is how I do it, right?
Yes.
Got
Or
it.
we're invited to a club and we go speak at a club, then we'll see an increase. That hasn't happened in the last month, so we're not sure of what triggered all these increases all of a sudden. So we will continue to monitor to see if it's an actual trend or if it was just a spike
A
as a
blip.
result of something.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What's piquing my interest is we had these liens that we just approved.
Right.
And now our delinquencies are up to 44.
Yeah.
Is there a trend coming? Do you see that? Is it because people can't afford to pay or just not paying their bills? Do we have any clue?
In the delinquencies, you do see an increase in the delinquencies, and that's because the compliance division has been proactively working with the finance department. So the standard is that the triggering point for compliance is your delinquent report that you get in your closed packet for the finance committee. That's the triggering point for compliance to start the disciplinary process against these cases. Because we had Blasilda, who's out on leave, when she came back, that was one of the first projects she tackled, is audit that whole list. And so that's why you do see an increase. I don't know the answer to if people can't afford it or why they are delinquent. That would be best fit for the finance committee.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Tom?
Yeah, can you give us a little details on the illegal occupancies? Because that's usually reported by another resident to compliance, correct? So are we seeing, grandchildren staying past 60 days? Or are we seeing somebody living there that shouldn't be there, or what?
It's yes and yes. It's a combination of things. So you do have people who are residing there who, like you said, someone reports it, a neighbor reports it, that they see activity and they're not really, they might be underage or they might not be people who they thought would be approved to be in that unit or who were previously approved. You have people who overstay the guest limit. You do allow a 60-day guest limit. So on day 61, they're considered illegal occupants. They have to go through the vetting process and submit an application. And you do also have a combination of people whose lease term has expired and they continue to reside there. So those individuals, those violations will fall under this category as well.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes, Elsie?
Thank you. First of all, it's nice to see you again, Mrs. Francis. Excuse me? Oh, well, it's on. I don't know what, it must be my mouth. Oh, I know, it's my delicate little voice. So Francis, could you clarify in terms of the lien? As I understand it, that doesn't mean you're going into their bank account and taking the money. Is that correct? Isn't it just a lien with the county, so they can't sell anything, like if they have real estate, without taking care of the lien?
Correct. And the Financial Services Department would be better equipped for that question. But once you go through a lien or once a lien is placed on the unit, that means that when that unit gets sold or transferred, you collect that money.
Oh, so
the
it's
lien-
only on the unit they here?
On the, yes.
Yes.
On
We
the
don't
unit.
do it on all their assets in California or in the county of Orange?
No,
No.
not that I'm aware of. But again, the Financial Services Department would be better equipped to answer that question. But once a lien is put on the property here at the village, then that means when that unit sells, then United will be able to recoup that amount before
Thanks.
releasing the lien.
So it shouldn't affect the day-to-day living of the person in terms of being afraid their bank account's going to be drained?
No.
Like,
No,
say, the
correct.
IRS,
No, correct.
who I
The
worked
lien-
for 30
The lien
years.
is just a recorded document that's against the property. So if at
Okay.
any time the property changes hands, then that lien will stop it so that United can recoup what is owed before that lien is released.
Good to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, so, Mr. Prater first, and then, yeah.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Just to clarify, the liens you see here, these aren't just liens that are 30 or 60 days out, being in the rears and not paying, okay? Some of them, literally months, okay? And sometimes when a unit, a person passes, for instance, and the heirs take care of that unit, they don't respond to the letters, they don't respond to the needs that are going on at that unit at all. So this just gets compounded and compounded. So these kind of liens, yes, are just for the property. If they do sell, we get our money first on this, and it occurs as time goes by. But nobody here is threatened. There is a really good process that the finance department over at VMS goes through, and they work diligently on these problems.
Thank you. Maggie?
Yes, I'd encourage the residents to continue their vigilance. This is a sign that people are paying attention to the village and attention to what is going around their unit. Sometimes it only takes one phone call to solve a problem. If you don't make the phone call, it continues on. But if you make the phone call, the problem can be solved or handled. So I suggest everybody, when the weather gets warmer, if ever that's going to happen, there will be more people outside. So don't be afraid to call. It's a very good thing to call because it makes the village better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Director Willis?
Yes, I don't know whether to ask you or you. So far, are these liens mainly for delinquent assessments versus chargeable services then?
Yes, most of them are, yes.
All right.
Some of the fees too, right? Yes, Ginny?
And I'd like to go and speak to that young lady in the red right there who made the complaint about that one unit that's near her house. If it's the one I'm thinking of, there is a lot of communication with residents about clutter. There is a lot of communication back and forth. There are accelerating fines, right? So it's not like we don't do anything. And I know that the frustration of you sitting there seeing that month after month, but because of privacy issues, we can't explain what's going on. But trust me, Maggie and Francis and I sit every month, and we see the same cases coming back because people ignore. And all we can do is find them, remove them from Channel 6 cable, which I don't know if that's really a deterrent of anything, and remove them from GRF facilities. So that's basically the levers that we have to get these people's attention. And I know it seems like nothing is being done because guess what? We see the same things over and over again in members' hearings, and we're as frustrated as you are. The wagon wheel, I do remember that particular one because of the wagon wheel.
And I do want to add to,
Cleaned it out, and in order to eliminate the liability of the United, I and a neighbor of mine cleaned it out. And, you know, somebody had to do it something now. Once the board is notified, we're liable. We all need to understand what liability is, and this is a litigious state.
and I do want to add,
Yes.
piggybacking off of what you just said, the last study that we did, which must have been about 6, 7, 8 months ago, 80% of your cases still get solved with the first letter. Your first soft courtesy notice still gains compliance with 80% of your cases. Then there's the smaller subset who do have to go, who get a final letter, which is much more stern, much more direct, has a lot more of the legal items that are required. And then you still have a smaller percentage that goes to a hearing. It's been our experience that once a hearing notice goes out with the date and time, it will get members to comply. So there's even less people that do come before you, before the member hearings committee. And then there's still that small percentage who, even in spite of the hearing, will continue to violate the rules. And this board, you have been very assertive in your rules enforcement program. You do impose the fines, you do the escalations, you do take it to legal if needed. So this board has been very mindful of enforcing their rules enforcement program, which is not, it hasn't been the case in the past. So I just want to add it to that.
Okay, thank you. Any other, member all right,
There were
Siobhan.
questions about delinquency, so I asked Steve Hormuth, our
Sure,
Financial Services
okay,
Director, to
yes,
please
good.
address.
It's perfect timing, Steve.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I believe the question was, is this...
Delinquency issue,
The delinquencies,
yes,
is it
right.
epidemic? So not to go into too much detail, but on average, you range anywhere between 20 to 40 delinquencies out of your 6,300 units. So right now, as at the end of last month, you were sitting at 30. So no, I'm not seeing this as to be an epidemic. The ones that are before you today, half of them, the residents unfortunately passed away. The other ones are non-responsive. So it could be either they're in a medical facility or they could have passed away as well, and we haven't been received updated records. So we'll continue to work through the processes. We'll bring them before the Finance Committee in closed session and to keep you updated. If this were to, as part of the reporting that we provide you in closed session, we do give that count. So again, 31 is the current number. If this were to grow exponentially, we would obviously bring that to your attention, and we may choose to take alternative means in terms of collections, but I don't see that being necessary at this time.
So can you kind of summarize the process, when delinquency starts, how many days you send out, how many letters,
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
So everyone's assessments are due on the 1st of the month. There's a 16-day grace period. If we don't receive payment by the 16th of the month, approximately the 25th of the month, we'll send out a reminder letter, otherwise known as a late fee associated with that. Unfortunately, there's a charge associated with that that'll be billed to the individual's account. If we do not receive payment within 30 days after that, a harsher letter is sent out, and that's required by the state. We apologize for the language included in that letter, but it's required by state law. So once that is called a pre-lien letter. Once 30 days have passed and we've not received any communication or payment for that matter, we bring it to the Finance Committee and we make a recommendation to move forward with the lien process. So if the Finance Committee agrees to move forward, then it is brought to you here under the consent calendar with no details in terms of who the individual is, but just their parcel number. And then after that, it goes on to the collection agency and a process starts from there from a foreclosure perspective. So all throughout that process, we are doing our best to communicate with the residents, sending out, making phone calls. Once it goes to the collection agency, then it becomes the collection agency's responsibility to make those phone calls. If payment is received, we'll work through the details with that and bring it current as quickly as possible. And then once again, during the finance closed session process, we update the members of the committee as to where we stand with each property.
Thank you. More question? All right, yes, Paul?
Yeah, we have a member comment when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Aye.
Hi, Kathy Bovada, 864P. On the liens that are placed on these units, the time frame, how many months is that? How many units out of those 30 or 40 are beyond 6 months? Do we know? The reason I'm asking this particular question is that because we are a co-op, and we do not own our individual units. Each of us own a piece of everyone else's units.
Right.
If the delinquency goes beyond a certain time frame, and I have not reread the occupancy agreement here, but as a board or as a community, we could purchase their unit and evict them, purchase their unit, and then sell it if it comes to that point. How long does this board wait before the monies haven't been collected before we take additional steps? That's my question, I guess.
Okay, Steve.
Convoluted as it is.
No, I totally understand. Again, the process to make it to a collection agency takes place anywhere between 3 to 5 months, depending upon if there's been any communication with the resident.
there's other factors that can cause it to kick off about 5 months. From a collections process, it could take anywhere between 6 months to a year because there's certain statutory requirements, 90 days before each steps can occur. Correct. Correct. Upon foreclosure, it'll go to the court steps, and then people can go out and bid on those properties. There's other steps that the community could also take with regards to actively having the first right of refusal. The community could buy the property as well. To answer the question with regards to how many do you have that are exceeding 6 months, of the 31, I want to, and forgive me, I'm shooting from the hip, but I want to say it's about between 8 and 10. So you have 4 or 5 on the list today, and then you have a number of units where we are waiting for money to come from the banks, so having to do with the recognition agreement. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Yes.
Oh, yes, Georgiana.
Yes.
Right.
I noticed there are 5 liens here, and I was just curious, how many of these are delinquent assessments, and how many total delinquent assessments does United have?
Sure. Again, you have about 31, not about, you have 31 delinquent assessments. The 5 that are before you today, again, I want to say 2 to 3 of them have passed away, and the other ones are non-responsive. So we will figure it out along the way as to why they're non-responsive.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Oh, Elsie, please.
Thank you. A few years ago, I mean, I keep hearing this coming up about where the mutual can, the right of first refusal, right, that they can buy the unit and then resell it. And I never heard of, if the legal right is there, right? But when we looked at it a couple years ago, we weren't doing it. It was, and it's like, well, why aren't we doing it? Well, that'd be a good way to make some money and save some money. And then, so I was just wondering, I mean, that was, nothing happened. So is any movement on that front for United?
We can bring this before your legal counsel, but I've been here for about 8 years. I think in that time frame, we've had 2 have actually gone to foreclosure. So it's not something that occurs with any regularity where it actually goes. Typically what happens is the unit is sold and you recover your funds. So there's other more stringent processes that you could apply if you were to go after a member termination and acquire the property through that means, and I've seen that done once. But again, you only have 31 units at the moment, so again, it ranges between 20 and 40. But usually what you're trying to do is collect those funds to make United whole.
But Ms. Bravada brought up this 6-month or the time limit stuff. I mean, could we be a little more aggressive instead of waiting for them to die?
There's usually reasons for the delays. In short, you could, but you have a collection policy in place that requires these steps. There's certain requirements by the state of California that protects the owners, right? So, yeah, you could be more assertive, but it has been unnecessary at this moment.
I'm certainly not advocating, especially on air, I am not advocating wholesale seizure of people's houses, but I was just, I mean, I had forgotten about that time limit thing, if I ever knew it existed. It's just an interesting point.
Okay, Ginny.
I have a quick question. Approximate total value of the total liens that represented by the 5 here?
Well,
Don't have that on me. I'll go ahead and, again, anywhere between $200,000-$300,000. It's probably less than that. It's a number that we share on a monthly basis with the finance committee. I apologize, I should have brought it down with me when I came down, but it's approximately that dollar amount.
Okay.
Usually in the initial stages, so these 5 of the 31 that you have before you, the delinquencies are ranging between $2,000 to $5,000. So the other ones, the 6 to 8 that are having with the collection agency for above 6 months, those can range anywhere between $10,000 to $50,000, depending upon the duration. So one might ask in terms of if something's $50,000, obviously it's been in collections for a long time. Sometimes a delay will take place. So, and it may take much longer than 1 year to foreclose because activities with the collection agency, so on and so forth. But again, something that we share with the community, with the committee on a monthly basis.
thank you.
Thank you.
Maggie.
Yes, this is handled in closed session, and so this afternoon you can see what the situation is. I don't think 44 out of 6,323 even is any remarkable percentage. It's almost immaterial. It's a very, I mean, any other place would be thrilled with this kind of compliance with payments on time. It's terrific. We really are having an excellent job. And people try and get help and do other things. They try to avoid to be on our list. 44 out of 6,323 is a miracle, actually, particularly in these
All right,
days.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
Olivia.
I was just wondering, do we know how many are in probate? If some of these just didn't have trusts?
Right.
We could discuss that in closed
Right,
session at the next
yes,
finance meeting.
right,
Closed
yes,
session.
okay. Thank you very much, Steve and Francis. That will conclude our 11A item, and let's move on to B. 11B, entertain a motion to approve the enactment of Standard 9 interior flooring for second floor manors. So, Madam Secretary, do we have a resolution?
Resolution 0125XX, enact Standard 9 interior flooring for second floor manors. Whereas United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to amend standards and create new standards as necessary, and whereas the Mutual recognizes the need to enact Standard 9, interior flooring for second floor manors. Now therefore be it resolved, June 10th of 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby adopts Standard 9, interior flooring for second floor manors, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. The 28-day notification for member review and comments has been satisfied. I move this motion.
Is there any second?
I second.
Okay, there's a second. Any question, comment? Yes, Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that the motion be postponed indefinitely.
You need a second for that?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, so there is indefinitely, all right.
Indefinitely.
Okay, is there any, we do have a vote, 2/3, isn't it?
Do we have a reason?
Majority.
Majority,
Majority.
okay. Any question, comment?
What is the
Yes.
reason?
Yeah. the
What
reason-
is the reason, Tony? Can you?
Yeah, well, I've read the resolution that's being kicked out, number 118, 115. It was done under the tutelage of the chair, Juanita Skillman, and I read it thoroughly, and it looks like what they were reacting to, it wasn't something they pulled off the wall. They were reacting to nuisance complaints, and I don't think that's gone away. So that's why I don't want to go against that resolution. That's my whole thing.
Okay, so,
Madam President?
Yes.
I'm not sure if this is how to do this. We've had a resident come in, and she proved very forcefully that it's the process we have, even though what we're trying to do in this resolution is to strengthen the sound barrier, it's almost like permissible. It's like, I promise I'll do it, and there doesn't seem to be a way to establish this ahead of time. So if somebody says, yes, submits the information and says, yes, they're going to put in new flooring, and yes, they promise to comply with the new sound barrier, there's no check to make sure that they really do that. And so then the next step would be, if I understand this correctly, and I hope Alan will come up and correct me if I am wrong, is that then they have to go to an appeal process. And so then they have to prove that this person didn't comply. So then that is borne on the person who requested it and who lost the contention. So if we could put something in that says that they have to show, architectural standards, that this is what they truly bought and this is what they're truly installing, then that would relieve that. And I haven't been able to figure out how to do that. And so I think we need to make sure that, because we have so many buildings with 2 stories, that we try to do this right. And I believe Dick Grader handed an amendment out, or is going to propose something that would have tried to make it mandatory. So I don't know how to do this.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor. So can Alan come out and explain the whole situation and what will be the best action that we need to take at this point, please?
And here I was hoping not to have to come up and say anything. So,
I know, I had to
so
put you
let
on
me
the spot.
recap for some historical context.
Yes.
The current standard that's in place with regarding sound transmission of flooring on second floors. In the last 21 years, there have been just 3 complaints that have escalated to complaints.
That would be 3
in the last 21 years.
in 24 years,
21 years.
21 years.
Okay, all right.
The new standard makes 3 changes. One, it increases the sound level requirements. It ups the standard by 7 decibels. So it's an improvement in the sound transmission. It improves the standard. The second item that's been changed is we're requiring an underlayment that meets a certain decibel sound reduction. The third item is a registration is now required whenever a new flooring is put in. On that registration form, the specific decibel reductions for their flooring is put on that form. So to recap, that form will be on file, and it won't ever be needed or necessary unless there is a complaint that rises to the point of compliance.
Okay.
I don't know if that's answered all your questions, but I'm certainly available.
Maggie, question?
So this is stricter. This is stricter. And you want to put it over
Yeah.
indefinitely because it's too strict?
Well, anyway, all right, then, any more questions?
Tom has one.
Tom, all right.
Yeah, I think, at least talking to others, I think we want a policy, at least I do,
Yeah.
even more strict
Yeah.
than what this
Yeah.
represents. But this policy is better than what we already
Yeah,
have.
exactly.
So I would like to see this policy put in place, but a stricter policy worked on. So I will vote against postponing this indefinitely and
Okay.
support the main motion, but I would still like to see it even stricter than what we have so that the sound issue is mitigated even more in the future. So that's my comments
Okay.
on that.
All right, so there, more comment, all right.
Yes, there was, I think on another time when we discussed this, there was someone here who had talked about the manufacturing process and stuff. And that person said that when they test it, like in the factory or something, they may be using something that's like 16 whatever deep. It's thicker. So when it's tested in the factory, it may test much better sound-wise than in your home situation, where maybe you're looking at 2 inches, 1 inch, whatever. So I think it's better if we have some
Okay.
control with what, but I don't think it's perfect. But then 3 in how many years?
21.
All right, any more comment, question? Yes, Tony?
Yes, again, reiterate, I'm not going to go against what Juanita Skillman and the board did years ago, 2018. And because we've only had 3 register complaints, doesn't mean that there aren't more out there. Right. So I'm going to back up what the board before me did. I won't, so that's to postpone indefinitely. Thank you.
Okay, yes, yes.
When you're ready, we have a member comment.
Okay, yes, member comment, all right.
Rader.
Dick Rader, 270D. Excuse me, I live on the first floor, and I've had a number of people up above me, lovely neighbors, but I can tell you that the reason we didn't make the complaint is, first of all, we want to be neighborly, but you have to also understand what it costs the person who's making the challenge. It's over, is it $1,500 or something like that? So you're risking $1,500 to make the complaint, and if it goes against you, you have to pay the $1,500 for the sound engineer to come in and decide whether the sound transmission exceeds a certain decibel level. So I believe that's one of the reasons why you're not seeing more complaints. It was just brought out that there's probably more people who would complain, but there's a cost to do it. The second point that I would like to look at, when I was reviewing what was passed and what's before you today, if you have it before you in your packet, if you'll refer to paragraph 3.3, it says, let me just say, apparently there are 2 types of flooring, okay? And if I understand that correctly, 3.3 is one of them. It says all new flooring installations will be required to have an underlayment installed that meets a minimum of 20 decibels or higher. So that's mandatory, right?
Yeah.
But then you go to 3.4. Go down 4 lines. At the end of the 4th line, it says, and this is apparently the second type of flooring, therefore it becomes incumbent on the member when purchasing a finished flooring product to request from the finished flooring provider the sound reduction specification for just the finished flooring product, and is saying try to get it to 10 dBs or higher. That's voluntary. And so what I'm asking is, why wouldn't that be mandatory? And if that information is not available from the flooring company, it could so be documented. Why don't we have architectural standards? We have architectural standards for everything else. And I think that this is an important step forward. And so my basic question is, why isn't that second one mandatory? And again, if the information isn't available from the flooring company, it could be so noted.
Okay.
We need to vote on the amendment.
Madam
Yeah, wait a minute.
President?
Yeah, just a minute, yeah.
I'm not sure if this is the appropriate motion. I'm probably going to vote against it because it does make it stronger, but it's still voluntary. And I agree with Tom. It should be recorded that they purchased the right material, and you could go back and have it inspected when they're putting it in to make sure that they're really doing the right thing. I don't know, the people around me in our neighborhood, there are some people who are very sensitive to sound and they complain about everything. And then there are others that are trying to get along, but it's unpleasant. So if they're going to make these improvements, why not make sure that they're really making an improvement?
Okay, one more comment, then I think we will call the question and vote. Right.
Hi, Kathy Bravada. For the complaints where there's only 3 and 21 years, clearly my neighbor's complaint is not part of his figures. My upstairs neighbor directly across from me, Jim, remodeled, put in hardwood floors. My neighbor downstairs below him, Jenny, they literally came to blows. She had a broom and was swinging it. Security was called, and basically security told her there's nothing that can be done. So there are more people out there that are having issues living below people who have hardwood floors that may or may not meet the requirements. I know when I remodeled in 2014, I could not put in hardwood floors. It had to be laminate. And then a few years later, it was changed and you can do whatever. My neighbor downstairs did complain of the noise, so I put in carpeting because I like my neighbors and I don't want to be, that much. But my neighbor Jim now is considering moving because the irritation between the two owners is really, really bad. When I hear them, I just stay in my apartment and just hope that it doesn't get worse. But it really is an issue for people who live below people who don't have the
Got the
proper
point.
padding.
Thank you. Is there any objection to call the question? No objection. So now we're going to vote for the motion that we will postpone this motion definitely, right? If you agree. That's not the motion. Yeah, that was.
Well, no,
that
correct.
was
Yeah,
the
it's not going to show on your screen, but on my end, it's
Okay,
showing that
yes.
this motion
Yes.
right now is
Right,
to
yeah,
table
that
the
is
matter
it.
indefinitely.
Okay.
So now we're voting whether or not we want to table this.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
What to do?
We're still waiting on Georgiana.
You know what? I'm going to go to abstain because I don't know what to do.
You have to click. It's not
Okay.
You gotta get more votes than other people.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Uh,
2, 3, 4.
Okay,
It
then.
fails.
Yes, yours went through.
It fails.
They're all there now.
Okay, then defeated. Motion is defeated.
Right.
All right, so, okay, we are going to vote for the main motion, right? Okay, so let's vote, is there a motion? Oh, we have a second already. So let's vote the main motion, okay? The resolution on the pink sheet is the motion that we are voting.
The main one.
To pass it.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, finally. But for the reference, the person who is
That was
really
scary.
strong against this, we are dealing with her, and we are going to have some closed session discussion, with
Right.
our attorney. So we are not just abandoning whole, concerns of the residents. So,
Thank you,
please.
Alan, for your endless patience and
Thank
knowledge.
you, thank you. Okay, then, related motion C, the item number C, entertain a motion to approve the rescission of interior flooring policy.
Approval overall.
Resolution 0125XX, whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual recognizes the need to review policies as necessary, and whereas the Mutual enacted Standard 9, interior flooring for second floor manners, to incorporate the processes currently contained in the interior flooring policy as of an hour ago, whereas the aforementioned integration of procedures would create a duplication of information, the Mutual recognizes the need to rescind the interior flooring policy of an hour ago. Now, therefore, be it resolved, June 10th, 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation hereby rescinds the interior flooring policy as attached to the official meeting minutes, and resolve further that Resolution 01-18115, adopted November 13th, 2018, is hereby canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. The 28-day notification has been satisfied. I move this motion.
Any second? Second, there's a second. Yes, question?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that this motion be postponed indefinitely. And because, give you a brief explanation, in third, they have a deed of title. No problem. In United, we don't have a deed of title. we have a share of stock issued by a corporation. And if, as we've heard here today, people
There
upstairs.
is no second yet for that motion,
Well, I
so
thought
we
there was.
cannot have the.
There was a
There
second.
was.
Yeah,
Pay attention,
Jenny
please.
seconded.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay, good.
Right, for the postman.
Just
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
There-
All right, there was a motion.
To postpone
yeah,
indefinitely.
Postpone, and then is there any second?
Sorry, Tony.
No, wait, isn't there already a motion on the floor? Didn't you move this motion?
We
No.
already dealt with the first one.
Okay, I will explain.
This is to rescind the earlier one.
No, I got that. But
And
when you
Anthony-
read that, didn't you move this motion? I'm talking about C.
No, I did not. Anthony moved this
Okay,
motion.
Oh, he
this
jumped.
motion was moved and seconded, but Anthony make another motion to postpone.
Right.
And there was no second on that second motion. So is there any second for the Anthony's motion? No second, then the motion fails. So we are going to vote on the main motion.
Right.
Yes, well, there is a motion and second question. All right, comment.
All right, there's a big problem here for me because, again, as I've said before, in third, you get a deed of title. In United, you get a share of stock in the corporation. And if the people upstairs and downstairs, and I live downstairs, start fighting each other, there's a possibility of a third-party lawsuit because the corporation has deeper pockets. And so, again, it's, third is letting residents fight each other. But in our case, you have a share of stock. You don't own the place. So two neighbors get into it, they could bring the corporation in and cost us a lot of money. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Tom?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Alan a question on this. Because we just passed the
Yeah.
other resolution, if we left this one in place, don't we have a
Right.
conflict
I know, conflict, yes.
of interest on this? A conflict between the two?
Correct.
Yes, I think so. Since we already passed the formal
Right.
motion, we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Rescind the old one.
If
So, yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Let's vote.
If it's not rescinded, you'll have two conflicting.
Exactly, right, right.
standards.
Okay, thank you for clarification. So let us vote. Call for the
Okay.
question. All right,
So we have the original motion?
Yes.
And we had a second?
seconded. All right, should we vote?
Discussion's over?
All right.
We should vote.
If you consent the motion, say yes. Otherwise, no.
What is the motion at this point?
To rescind the old one.
We're just getting rid of the old.
Okay, motion. We all,
Okay.
okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan, thank you. Move on to D, entertain a motion to approve the revision to unauthorized alteration fee. Madam Secretary, can you read the resolution, please?
Resolution 0125XX, unauthorized alteration fee. It's not an unauthorized alteration fee, it's an unauthorized alteration
Yes.
fee. Thank you.
Yes.
Whereas the mutual has seen an increase in unauthorized alterations, and whereas significant administrative staff time is necessary to investigate, document, and process unauthorized alteration incidents, and whereas in order to offset a portion of the administrative costs associated with the investigation, documentation, and process of unauthorized alteration incidents, the board approved an unauthorized alteration fee. And whereas operational costs have increased since the time of inception, now therefore be it resolved June 10, 2025, that the Board of Directors hereby increase the unauthorized alteration fee for processing mutual consents after the fact to $400 effective June 10, 2025, And resolve further, when it has been determined that a member has started or completed alterations without proper prior mutual consent and city permit, a stop work notice will be issued, and the member will be scheduled for a disciplinary hearing before the board. And resolve further, the member will be directed to apply for mutual consent and shall pay the unauthorized alteration fee, which shall be in addition to the board-approved mutual consent processing fees. And resolve further, payment of the unauthorized alteration fee does not preclude the member from disciplinary action by the board. And resolve further that Resolution 01-1887, adopted September 1st, 2018, is hereby superseded and canceled. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. The 28-day notification has been satisfied. I move this resolution.
Any second?
I second.
Okay. Any comment, question?
I do.
Yes.
I do. And
Ginny?
it's a word that's been bothering me since the last time we read this. We're asking for an increase from $300 to $400, right? And it says in order to offset a portion of the administrative costs associated with the investigation, documentation, and processing of what is determined to be an unauthorized alteration incident. Why aren't we making them pay for the entire amount of all of this work and not a portion of it? Does that make sense?
It makes
Thank you.
We're trying not to deal in absolutes. The $400 increase, in a majority of cases, each case varies with the amount of time it takes depending on the unauthorized alterations we're dealing with. $400 is a reasonable average to recover the costs.
Okay, thank you. That word stuck in my craw, as they say.
So, Ellen, I just want to ask a question. If they are found out to have an unauthorized alteration, don't they then have to remediate that so that they would also have to take it out? Like if you put in a second floor bathroom or any bathroom and you didn't get it authorized, what happens then?
So if an unauthorized alteration is discovered, it needs to then go through the mutual consent process. During that process, it is reviewed, and if it's a variance, which is more than likely the procedure, that goes before the ACSC committee. They make the determination if they will accept the unauthorized work or they have to restore that work back to original condition.
Thank you.
Question.
Yes, Charlie.
Madam Chair, thank you. My question is, so if a person does this and you go out and you say, yes, this wall's been altered, does that person at that time need to also pay for the permits and inspection that had not
Correct.
been done?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, Elsie.
And is that, thank you, President, is that per offense? In other words, if you come in and you say, and we discover that this wall's been removed and this toilet's been added, is that two separate offenses with two separate fines?
It would be treated as one case.
Oh, okay. Why?
Any more question, comment? Are we ready to vote? Yes, if you vote for the motions, say yes. If no, say no. No, I said yes. Okay. Wrong button. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. All right, let's move on to item 12, new business. A item, Town Hall, oral discussion by Director Costello.
That's right.
Please.
Well, I believe that we have what we need to do the town hall this Friday that we were intending to, which is to roll out the actual mock-ups of the manners in the color palette that is being proposed. So with that being said, and I'm looking at Manuel in the back, we will be doing that at the upcoming town hall Friday, the 14th, excuse me, at the PAC at 2 o'clock.
Okay, any question? Any additional? Okay, thank you very much. Let's go to B item, entertain a motion to approve the revision to exterior paint color palette and groupings.
Resolution 0125XX revise the exterior paint color palette, whereas by way of Resolution 011910, the Board of Directors approved the exterior paint color palette for use on the mutual structures during execution of the mutual's exterior paint program, and whereas the color groupings are sorted for availability and community cohesiveness for use on single-story buildings, Seville-style buildings, and multiple-story buildings, as well as laundry buildings and carports. And whereas the Board of Directors has elected to revise the exterior color palette and replace the current palette with a revised new current color palette, now therefore be it resolved July 18, 2025, that the Board of Directors of the Corporation hereby establishes a revised exterior paint color palette to include 7 color groups for single-story buildings, 5 color groups for Seville-style buildings, 3 color groups for multiple-story buildings, 2 color groups for laundry buildings and carports, as attached to the official minutes of this meeting, and resolve further to maintain the operational and logistical efficiencies in the current program. The revised exterior paint color palette will become effective with structures in the next scheduled cul-de-sac to be painted on the mutual's exterior paint program scope and subsequent annual paint program scopes, and resolve further that all requests for door color changes outside of the exterior paint program will remain a variance request subject to approval by the board, and resolve further Resolution 011910 adopted January 8th, 2019 is hereby superseded and canceled, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. Should the board endorse the proposed revisions, staff recommends that a motion be made and seconded to accept the resolution and allow discussion to ensure that the resolution reads to the satisfaction of the board. Staff then recommends that a board member postpones the resolution to the next available board meeting, no less than 28 days from the postponement, to comply with the Civil Code 4360. I move this resolution.
Is there any second? A second. Yes. All right. Any discussion, question? Yes, Charlie?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the owners who are in here, that this Friday is we'll have a great showing at Clubhouse 3 of the colors. You'll see the pictures. Please come to these because you're going to be asked yourselves to make some choices as these colors come to your unit. It's important to educate yourself so you're not caught off guard and not surprised.
If I may provide some clarification.
Sure.
We will only have one of the color renderings available at that time, but we will have the color chip samples available at that point in time.
Does it matter? We had color reservations here, all these, what happened to those?
We're happy to provide those, but those were just mock-ups. We're happy to provide those for the meeting, but we do have the more professional ones being printed, but they will not be completed by Friday.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, sir.
when will they be available?
By Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Should we just postpone this then until the next meeting? Or it's on 20, we wanted to show
28-day
it to.
notification.
That's the
This-
problem. Yeah.
This process that has been brought to us by your unit over there has gone on way too long. This has been a process that has cost us money. It's been a process of indecisions. And this is just almost not acceptable, I'll be honest with you.
Okay, just a minute. Did you say that? Okay.
Yes, I think we should lay this over. The other thing we could do is, because it's on 28-day, I think we just have to lay it over another month.
I sort of agree, because.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, all right. So, yes, you can.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I think the colors are sterile, and we bought in, and our homes were a certain color. And these colors I'm seeing, and then the heather this, storm that. I mean, green, blue, tell me what the color is. But the point is, Swiss coffee, which is probably one of the more popular colors, I don't even think that's included in this unless it's maybe a trim somewhere. But for those of us who like the more cheerful colors, I mean, this isn't here, it's just sterile.
Okay.
And so I think there needs to be some kind of process where
Madam
people don't like
Chair, point
Yes,
of order.
right,
That's not
the subject.
That's not the
All right,
subject.
thank you. Any more question about this issue?
Yeah.
Yes, Maggie?
Do we need an amendment for this?
Just a minute. Maggie.
If I may,
Yeah.
you guys were gonna go ahead and put it on 20-day notification prior to that meeting, even with or without the color renderings. If it's possible to put it on 28-day, just to make it so the process starts to move forward, because we do
No.
agree the process has been quite a bit of time.
No.
And at that time, you guys could bring it back and discuss it at the next board meeting if you guys want to change and modify the colors. We do have the samples that we did present to you guys the last meeting. Those are the color printings, but we wanted to present you guys with the more professional ones.
Ian, if I may, there was a timeline that was established when we authorized the payment of $7,500 for these.
That was
And in the room, Manuel confirmed that we would have these. I said, "You've got a month." He goes, "We can do this." All right. I even asked. So now we're at the 11th hour. I asked him a week ago, last week, if these would be ready, and he said, "You'll have one." That's, to Director Prater, that is unacceptable.
Okay.
So I agree. I think we need to cancel the town hall regarding this, because we'll have nothing to show of any consequence. And then have the discussion about putting this on 28-day notice.
It's not only
Just
that, I mean.
Please, it's not
yeah.
the subject. All right, how do we want to do it? Okay, one comment, one more comment, then we will make the motion, we go with the motion.
I think the issue is, can you find an alternate way to get them produced? So I would ask staff, what are the requirements to get this printed? Because you might know there is an exceptional printer available to us. I think it's the Camera Club, I think, has it. It's a wide format, exceptional printer. And if that will meet your needs, perhaps you ought to explore it.
Thank you.
The answer
ahead,
for
Tom.
that?
Tom? Oh. You want to take Tom's question
Just a
first?
minute, just.
Any amount of time it's going to take us, these files are already in production. So I don't recommend expending any more expenditures on them. These are already in motion.
Okay, Tom?
Yeah, the motion on the table is about the approval of it. It's not
Right.
about the town hall.
Exactly. Right.
So
Right.
we need to address
Right.
the motion and
Right.
not the printing of
Exactly.
the color palettes right now.
Okay, all right, so our motion is on the floor. There is a second. So are we going to pass this motion or not? We are, right? So let's vote. If you agree with the motion, say yes. Otherwise, say no. Okay, motion passes, right. Thank you. So how are we going to run the town hall meeting? We will discuss outside. Yes?
We're still missing Anthony.
Anthony, we need to vote.
Abstain.
Abstain. Okay.
Maybe-
Right, yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Let's move on to 12C. Entertain a motion to approve the recommendation to adopt the shrub replacement policy.
Resolution 0125XX, shrub replacement policy. Whereas the Landscape Department recognizes the need for a formal policy regarding shrub replacement to promote consistent landscaping standards, sustainability, and long-term community landscape goals, and whereas the proposed shrub replacement policy outlines clear criteria and procedures for replacing shrubs that are dying, hazardous, or overgrown, and emphasizes environmental stewardship, biodiversity, and water conservation. And whereas the policy also ensures all shrub replacement requests are assessed by the Landscape Department, with final selections favoring drought-tolerant, regionally appropriate plants sourced from the GRF nursery. And whereas resident requests for shrub replacement will follow a structured process, including request submission, professional evaluation, board or staff approval, and scheduled installation aligned with seasonal best practices and available budget. And whereas the policy has been reviewed and recommended for adoption by the Landscape Committee, now therefore be it resolved July 8th, 2025, the Board of Directors hereby adopts the shrub replacement policy as presented, and resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out this resolution. This is the June initial notification. If we pass it, it is put over for no less than 28 days to comply with Civil Code 4360. I move this resolution.
Any second? Okay, there's a second. All right, any discussion, any questions? Hearing none, let us vote. If you consent to motion, say yes. Otherwise, say no. Okay. Is that all done?
Who's not
Right.
there?
We're still waiting on Sue.
Landscape, please. Okay.
It is a yes.
There you go.
Okay,
There you go.
it passes. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to D item. Entertain a motion to approve Revenue Committee endorsed rental income.
Madam
program.
Chair,
Oh, yes?
if you want to go back, we do have manual here.
Oh,
If you want to go back to the color palette.
Which-
It's
we are done.
okay.
I'm sorry, what are we doing here?
Unless you wanted some clarification from him regarding the
Okay.
schedule of it?
If you want to hear from me, no,
No?
we are done.
Okay.
12D. Entertain a motion to approve Revenue Committee endorsed rental income program research. So there is no resolution, but staff is here. There is a recommendation. So Steve, it's all for you, right?
Thank you. A quick summary. So this is basically the conclusion of the work that was done by the Revenue Committee. So there was a half dozen ideas that were generated by the committee. Staff has a recommendation to bring forward this rental program idea before the board. So before we do any additional work involving probably further research with legal counsel, reaching out via a request for information from various vendors, we wanted to make certain that this is something that the board was interested in. At a very high level, the concept behind the rental fee program is currently residents in the community have the ability to use a property manager of their choosing. So this idea here, while the numbers, the percentages, how much rent is all subjective, right? What it's listed in the staff report is just assumptions, ideas to bring before to you. But again, the idea is to have a single, maybe one or slightly more, depending upon what research finds, one property manager that would assist with all the residents within the community. Anybody who wants to rent their rent their manor would go to this specific board-approved vendor, and they would work internally with staff, as they always have, setting up the various means of moving into the community. So this vendor, the property manager, would collect rent, do various other things that a property manager would do, and as a result of being the single source, they would share some of the revenue with United. And again, that percentage cut would be determined at a later time. So this is purely just a request. If the board is interested in pursuing this idea further, again, the idea stemming from the Revenue Generation Committee. Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to, yeah,
I have a question.
yes.
Okay, oh, we need to.
With the motion, yeah.
I move the motion.
A second?
A second.
Second, okay.
Okay, I have a question. Is this going to make a range of rentals prices or what?
So again, this is all just theory at the moment. So what staff will ultimately do is, if the board is interested in moving forward with this idea, we'll come through and make recommendations. Preliminarily, no. Preliminary, our recommendation is that the residents will have full control of whatever they want to rent their unit for. Whether it's $1 or whether it's $10,000, that's up to them. But consistent with maybe some of the other property managers out there, that they would charge a percentage for their commission. And again, some of that commission would be shared with United, and that property manager would keep the remaining balance.
Okay. Any further question?
Oh, you can ask someone
Okay.
else first.
Yes,
Thank you,
Charlie.
Madam,
Yeah.
Madam Chair, thank you. Sorry, thank you. A question, Steve, on this process that we're trying to put together here with the outside, are we incurring any costs doing this, or is this a staff thing that will be done by VMS?
So at this time, it's purely a third party. So, however, one of the requests that came from, so to answer the question directly, no, there would be no cost from a staff perspective.
Okay.
If we use a third party. The Revenue Committee had asked, would VMS want to participate in the RFI or RFP eventually to take over that single source process? And that could be discussed once again at a later time.
Thank you.
Clearly,
Okay.
if VMS was involved from that perspective, there would be costs involved.
Okay, Georgiana and Sue, and then Maggie. All right, Georgiana.
Yes, so in other words, does this mean if someone is renting your place and you're not living there, or if you're living there and you got a roommate, what are we talking about here?
So that's a great question, and that will be defined later on. So preliminarily, I believe the idea is if your house is vacant and you want to lease it out, that rate will apply to just that component.
Well, then, we shouldn't be getting any money from that at all. If they own their place or their airspace or whatever, in any situation, if you're renting it out, I have a place out of state, I rent out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sharing the income with anyone.
Sure.
Because it's my place.
Sure.
So this sounds like encroachment.
So again, the idea
Yeah.
that was being proposed was
Right.
for those using a property manager, as opposed to using property manager A, you would use property manager B that is decided upon and approved by the board. So again, this is all just theory. So we want to make certain that there is money available and people are interested. But first thing that we need to do is make certain there was appetite from the board to proceed.
Okay, so in other words, instead of maybe using a realtor, they could use this place, someone here, and then there will be a percentage, like 10% or something?
Correct. There'd be some kind of a split. And again, not necessarily, this wasn't originally designed for VMS to take on this service because that's outside of our capabilities at the moment. So, but the idea was to consolidate rather than having maybe, making up a number, but rather than having 50 property managers that communicate with VMS, that we would have one, maybe a couple more than that, property managers that would be a preferred vendor in essence, or really the only vendor. And then as a result of having that sole source agreement, that ultimately they would share the revenue that they bring in. 10% is what you refer to. So maybe it'd be a 5% and a 5% that would go back to United. And that would be money that would be used to offset assessments for your membership.
Okay, Sue was the next person. Sue?
I just want to make sure I understand this. So I wondered what the property manager was going to do. And so if they would take over the advertising, screening, lease signing, account setup, and rent collection. So say, if I understand this correctly, using your average rent of $2,700 per month, and so that would be a 10% of the monthly rent. So that would be, let's say 200, for round numbers, $300. Is it 100? We'd get 150. They'd get 150. Is that correct? Do I understand that right?
That is, again, these are just assumptions, but the answer is yes.
Okay.
So those will clearly change. That percentage would have to be refined at a later time. And then clearly this 2,700 is just the average that I used. Again, it could be $1, it could be 10,000, whatever it is that the renter feels is appropriate.
Okay, maybe.
Is this a revenue producing?
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's
based
the
upon
For
the assumption,
United, and so the cost goes to the owner? Or is passed on to the renter? So this is a way for United to get a little more money out of the rental property?
correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Charlie? I'm good. Oh, okay. Yes, Tom?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand this motion that was made. This would create a monopoly for the rental process, correct?
Potentially correct.
Okay, and this is the only item we're talking about that the Revenue Committee generated that we're going to pursue. Is that what this is saying?
At this time, correct.
At this
Okay.
time, yes.
And the individual, under this assumption, would not have the right to rent their unit directly,
Yeah, they would.
or they would?
So that will be decided at a later time. Again, this is the research aspect of it. We're asking if the board has interest in pursuing because there will probably be comments from the community at a later time when this gets brought forward. So what we don't want to do is spend a bunch of time and get a bunch of people concerned if the board has no appetite pursuing. To answer your question, initially the idea was yes, if you want to rent your unit, that you would come to the property manager and then you would go ahead and go from that perspective. And the only way to lease the unit would be to go through that aspect. But it could be dialed back depending upon, again, the interests of the board. If this moves forward, odds are we probably come through with alternatives and see, we'll ultimately have a recommendation and then we'll see where it goes.
Okay, and who's developing the RFI?
Staff will develop the RFI.
And who's evaluating the RFI?
Staff will evaluate the RFI, but we'll bring it before the Finance Committee more than likely. We can absolutely invite the board to participate. It's whatever you feel is necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Paul?
We have Manny Robledo.
Okay. Hi.
Good morning, Manny Robledo, 280p. I'm speaking as a member resident.
Right.
I strongly recommend against this without any research, because this is a taking of our member property. Because a revenue committee should look for external revenue, not internal revenue. This is taking revenue from the members. I have a rental unit in Oklahoma. I had a property manager. I was paying $150 a month. I had trouble getting the rent. Now I manage it myself. I don't pay that. So now you're taking that choice away from us. And it appears that this is a monopoly, or else you wouldn't have any revenue. Because if you gave it to the members, no one would pick it. Very, very few people. Matter of fact, now I use a leasing agent for my property. I do pay something to get a tenant, but once the tenant's in place, I manage it. I have handymen. This is our property. And the second thing is, this will cost staff, because as it is, it's taking 4 months to process. Someone who puts their property into a trust, our leasing office, or the sales and leasing, is so backed up, it takes 4 months just to change the name into a trust. And then you're going to add this on top of it. No matter what we say, a third party needs to be managed, needs to be scrutinized. It's going to put United in the middle of the tenant and the owner, and now we're subject to liability. Anyone can sue anyone. Right now, it's very clean. United has nothing to do with rentals. Now we're going to be a property manager. You know how many squatters, you know how many complaints, you know, it's throwing United into a business that we don't have a business in.
Okay, thank you.
One person's opinion.
All right, thank you.
Next speaker is Dick Rader.
Dick.
I was an advisor on the Revenue Generating Committee. Let me simply state the following. This is not a new idea. It came from a member of our community who you would know, and it was based on their experience with other HOAs who do the same thing. They take a percentage of the rental. The ideas that you're hearing discussed, yes, you're going to hear some different points of view. I suggest that you proceed with this because it's just exploratory. It's asking you to allow them to do further research. And I would encourage you to allow this to go forward, and let's hear the different points of view, and let's see what happens with their request for information. It may be stopped dead when you see the request for information. I'm not going to get into details. So please let it go forward. Let it be researched.
Okay. Any more comment or question? Yeah, again, as the chair of the,
Yeah, I was just going to say, they're not totally locked out of it anyway, because a friend of mine who had some condos here, I would rent out for her occasionally, and when she was out of the country, and they always got something like $175, because when you fill out the application, that money goes to the leasing office. But I think overall, and it wasn't an expensive way to do it, but if you've got people who have other work they're doing, then maybe they're going to charge for vacation rental by owner or however you're doing it, and it's for most of us, it's just, I think it's a clean break. To me, it's just more free. I guess I feel that way, and I feel like it's capitalism, and let it work.
Okay, as the chair of the committee, we have worked almost a year and researched different ways of getting, possible way of getting revenue, because our assessment fees going up and our infrastructure, so on. And we have gone through each item with our legal counsel, and he approved that it will be a good item to pursue at this time. And there are a couple of other items, but it's not timely and legally. So as Steve suggested, it's a very preliminary information that we require and see if it is feasible further than we thought. So we don't have any detail at this time, but we are just moving to recommending to do further research, okay? That is the motion, so, all right.
So, actually, we were built for owner occupancy, and we have strayed far away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this will add a cost to it, which will possibly either bring in money, that's irrelevant, which will possibly distance the person from this. So this will be every time they change a renter,
Yes.
this will be a fee for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe they
We can
think they will be more careful
Yeah.
when selecting their renter.
Yeah, there's a factor there.
I don't
Okay.
know. Thank you.
Is there an objection to call the question? I call for the vote. Okay, all right, let's vote. If you consent with the motion. Motion is, I'll call for, approve the recommendation that staff had provided here to go for the further research and provide us the information, say yes, otherwise say no. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Next item on the agenda, 12B, entertain a motion to approve an increase to the annual zero-emission vehicle charge fee from $240 to $420, and plug-in hybrid to remain at $240, effective August 1st, 2025. Resolution, please.
Resolution 0125XX, zero-emission vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, annual fee for use of a standard 120-volt outlet. Whereas the state of California and the U.S. government continue to offer incentives encouraging residents to purchase all-electric and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles to reduce greenhouse gases emissions and promote environmental sustainability. And whereas United Laguna Woods Mutual has previously permitted electric vehicle owners to utilize 120-volt outlets in common areas under a $240 annual fee structure established in 2016. And whereas the annual electric vehicle charge does not reflect the actual cost of electricity consumed by zero-emission vehicles charged within the community, and whereas at the May 27, 2025 Finance Committee meeting, the committee reviewed staff's original recommendation of $636 and instead proposed to increase to the annual electric vehicle charge fee for zero-emission vehicles from $240 to $420, that a new fee be created for plug-in hybrids, with the annual fee of $240, both effective August 1, 2025, based on usage assumptions. And whereas zero-emission and plug-in hybrid electric vehicle users who have paid the current annual fee through December 31st, 2025, prior to July 8th, 2025, will not be subject to the increased fee until January 1 of 26. Now therefore be it resolved on July 2025, the Board of Directors of this corporation here authorizes to carry out this resolution as written, that owners of zero-emission electrical vehicles electing to charge their vehicle within United Laguna Woods Mutual shall be assessed an annual electric usage fee of $420, and that owners of plug-in hybrid vehicles be assessed the annual rate of $240. Every ZEV and PHEV must be registered through the automobile registration process and obtain a decal from Resident Services that must be visibly displayed on the inside corner of the driver's rear window at all times while charging from mutual carport outlets. An annual January to December electricity usage fee set by the United Board will be required for every electric vehicle registered and electing to charge in the mutual. This fee may be prorated for ZEVs and FEVs registered during the year. ZEVs $35 a month and FEVs $20 a month. Charging must occur in compliance with posted guidelines to avoid overloading circuits. Residents are encouraged to coordinate with neighbors and stagger charging times to prevent circuit breaker trips. Recommended amperage draw is no more than 8 amps, and if more than 2 vehicles are using a bank of circuits, each vehicle should limit to 5 amps or less. Owners of electric vehicles are solely responsible for maintenance of the vehicles and any associated charging equipment. No modifications may be made to mutual outlets, circuit breakers, or wiring without proper authorization. Owners seeking to use high-voltage charging must comply with board-approved alteration standard section 41 and shall be required to apply for a permit and make necessary arrangements with electric service provider, currently SCE, for installation of a separate service panel and conduit and appropriate electrical outlet. In such an event, vehicle registration will not be required. Resolved for the resolution 01-16-112, adopted December 13, 2016, is hereby superseded and canceled, and reserved further that the officers and agents of the corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. June initial notification, should the board endorse the proposed revisions, it be moved and seconded, and allow discussion and so on, and then it postpones the resolution to the available board meeting no less than 28 days to comply with 4360. I move this resolution.
I second it. Second, okay. Any question, comment? Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
This is probably the most convoluted resolution that's been brought before this board. And I can't approve it because you start with an assumption, you're going to charge people, and we cannot provide an at-will service right now. And I have experience from 2 different cul-de-sacs. So this thing is just, I mean, listen, who's going to be the voltage cop that goes around and makes sure you're only using 8 amps? Who's going to do that? It's crazy. Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
It's not just that. It seems to me the literature I read when this first came out, or we were dealing with it a few months ago, was that the use of cars was, the actual costs were coming to more like $756 or $96, I guess, per year or something like that. So it was over, so you're taking it from $636 down, which was also low compared to what the literature said, so far as what the cars were actually using.
Okay, any more questions? Yes, Tom?
Yeah, I noticed under staff's note that it says the Finance Committee didn't endorse staff's recommendation. On that, basically, the formula is still intact that the staff recommended. The only change, to my knowledge, was the mileage being used at 5,000 miles per year versus 7,600 miles per year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And to me, this is a fair and equitable formula for zero-emission charging vehicles. And we already have a charge in place, so it's a matter of adjusting that charge. It's not a new charge that we're putting, we're just adjusting the amount of the charge. And therefore, I support this motion.
Okay, any more comment, question? Yes, Essie?
I'd like to hear what Steve was going to say when Tom said about the estimated mileage stuff.
So thank you. Some of the comments that had been posted in the Globe maybe multiple weeks ago, and some of the questions that I've been asked personally, was how was the 76 or the 5,000 mileage per year derived? So staff had gone online and went on to the U.S. Department of Transportation, and that's where we saw, it was last updated in 2022, that the average resident living in the United States that is 65 or older drives 7,600 miles per year. So that is the number that we use as a basis for
600 miles?
7,600.
Oh, I didn't hear the 700, 7,000.
So yeah, 7,600 for those 65 and older. For those that are 55 plus, it was around 12,000 miles. So 12,500, I believe. So we felt comfortable using the 7,600 again for staff's recommendation. The math that adds to that has to do with the amount of electricity an average EV vehicle draws while they're driving. And then the third component is, of course, how much electricity costs, which the assumption that we used was about 31 cents. So if this were to be approved and on an annual basis, all we would do is we would update the cost that we're paying for electricity, but the average rate that a EV uses as well as the mileage would stay flat. So once again, repeating myself, every year this would go up on an annual basis based upon the cost that you're actually paying to SCE. So the 5,000, that is the mileage that is being recommended by the Finance Committee, that is based upon the idea that many people that live within the community don't drive miles and miles and miles to go to possibly the doctors or wherever they're visiting family, so and so forth, similar to someone outside this community. So someone in the Midwest that was included in the 76 average might drive much further, but here in Laguna Woods, it's much tighter. So Saddleback Hospital's across the street, so on and so forth, so you don't need to drive as much. The second element that the Finance Committee proposed was you have a differentiation between a full EV and a plug-in hybrid EV. So what the Finance Committee proposed was, as the resolution stated, that we have a new fee created specifically for plug-in hybrids, and that would remain at the $240 per year.
Okay, Tony.
Madam Chair, I have to know, how's this, don't make a rule that you can't enforce. How are we going to police this to make sure people are charging at 8 volts and this one's a hybrid and this one? We have to have some kind of a police, a cop to patrol this, otherwise it means nothing. Thank you.
Okay, answer?
So to address that, it's no different than what's currently in place.
Right.
So if an individual is found to be charging their vehicle when they don't have a permit, they will receive a violation.
Mm-hmm.
With regards to if they are tripping the breaker as a result of using too much electricity, there's a fee that goes along with that as well to have somebody from the maintenance team come out and flip the breaker. So again, all the items, everything is currently in place.
Right.
This is simply a recommendation from the Finance Committee to go from 240 annually to 420. Excuse me, in addition to having a new fee for the plug-in hybrid.
Okay, Georgiana.
What is the cost when a breaker goes out? Because I've heard in some areas they're going out quite a bit, and then people have to come out and replace whatever.
Didn't bring that with me. Do you have that number off your head?
No, that was brought up to us, and it cost about $30.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to say 35, but you're
Yes.
probably right.
Paul?
When the board's ready, we have a member comment.
Okay, member comment. Oh, is there more board comments?
Well,
All right,
Okay.
member comment.
Manny
No.
Robledo.
Hi, Manny Robledo, 280p, speaking as a member. I support this resolution. I think it's appropriate for electric vehicle drivers to pay an estimated amount because they don't have to go to the gas station. My gas bill is higher than 400 and something a year.
Okay.
And I think the analysis
Right.
was good. They took into account that it's not, people here don't drive as much. So I think it's a good solution. And I think even though it's not proactively enforced, I think having a resolution saying that it's limited to 8 amps is something for staff to deal with when the breakers do trip, and then they can mediate it, and I think within the cars themselves, you can set it down so it doesn't charge too much. So it's without us United putting in a bunch of expensive infrastructure. This is paid for by the user. So I think it's an elegant solution. I do support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a hand up out here?
I was told, or in some of the meetings that I was in, that, I'm not laughing at,
This is Catherine Bravado, by the way, everybody.
thank you, Maggie. I was told it was $150 every single time the breakers blew. This was told to me in one of my meetings as a board member. I don't believe it was in a closed session, but that it was roughly $150 every time a breaker goes because of the people that have to come out and everything. So when you said $30, that's really kind of a shock because I've heard nothing less than $150.
We will check the fact, okay, but.
Thank you.
Kathy, I asked that at a closed meeting because one of a former board member was alleging that it was $150. So
Okay.
I checked, and they said, yeah, I asked, is that true or is this an urban myth? They said the cost is $35.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any further question? Okay. All right, ready to vote?
Hey. I can't,
Talking to it.
oh, here we go.
Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. All right, finally, we are done. Mr. Crater, you are happy?
Thank you.
All right.
No.
Excuse
12F.
me.
Huh?
12F.
12F, yes, I know.
Okay.
But that motion. Okay, we have addendum 12F,
That's right.
resolution. The resolution itself, this morning, we passed it out this morning.
Oh, okay.
Here it is. The addition.
Yes, addition, resolution itself, yes. Maggie, can you read it, please?
Resolution 0125XX, request for a special corporate members meeting. Whereas the United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors is requesting to call a special open corporate meeting, members meeting in cooperation with Third Laguna Hills Mutual Board of Directors, and whereas the purpose of the meeting is to vote on the following. Number one, rescind GRF resolution to install any EV locations in Laguna Woods Village. 2, rescind GRF resolution to install solar panels on Laguna Woods Village clubhouses. 3, include an earmark of a minimum of $4 million for the replacement of Building E in the current budget. Now therefore be it resolved, June 10th, 2025, the Board of Directors hereby approves the resolution to request a special open corporate members meeting. And resolve further that the officers and agents of this corporation are hereby authorized on behalf of the corporation to carry out the purpose of this resolution. I move this resolution.
Any second? A second? Okay, any question? Yes, Tony?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask Steve about the use of the word earmark. I think last time we don't use earmark, we use allocation. Can you explain, please?
So anything that is not currently in the budget that you want to add to the budget, we would include it as a supplemental appropriation terminology. So ultimately, if this goes before the corporate members, we would put a dollar amount. We would come forward with a supplemental appropriation and likely say, using the words from the resolution, a minimum of $4 million or whatever the board decides.
Right, yes, Tom?
Yeah, so this, what we're voting on is the meeting itself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And-
what I was,
And I guess I'm ignorant on what the corporate member's authority is to dictate to GRF what we can do or not. So could I have clarification? Do the corporate members have the power to do these things, the authority to do them?
Catherine?
Yes, based on a meeting they had on April 14th, I believe you all were invited, and they gave figures for the solar project and the EV project, and they were over the $500,000, so the corporate members would need to vote to approve those or deny those.
So it's based on the $500,000.
Based on that meeting's information. It was April 14th.
Yeah. So for clarification, so everything she said was correct, but in addition to the $500,000, as part of their resolution, it said including corporate members' approval.
Okay.
So is it?
Yes,
dual
Elsie.
reasons?
Well, and then if this is because I've been away for a little while and I don't have the timing, but the way this reads, it sounds like GRF already
Yes, already
approved.
voted, right.
So is that accurate?
I mean, they're working on it. Yes, they already approved the appropriation of certain amount, right?
Correct.
Combining both, yes,
Without,
projects. So-
without going to the corporate,
No,
without
that-
going to the corporate members?
No, this is the request to have a corporate member meeting on it.
Well, then it needs to have its wording changed, because this specifically says rescind, number 1 and 2. And you can't rescind something that hasn't been voted on.
But April 14th, they voted on, GRF board voted on for 2 projects, right? Already without our presence. We're
Well, that's what I
invited.
mean, so they
Yeah.
didn't go to corporate members before they voted this in?
As Steve stated, it said after corporate members' approval. So the dollar amount was set at that meeting, or the approximate dollar amount was set at that
Oh,
meeting.
with the meeting to follow later.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So if it, again, I'll go back to the wording, you can't rescind something that hasn't, so it sounds like they're on track with the corporate members required for over 500,000, blah, 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 right?
Yes.
They know that. They aren't trying to pull a,
Right.
okay. So if they're doing that, and I'm for this,
Yes.
it's just, I don't believe you can rescind something that hasn't been determined.
Would a better wording be consider as
Yes,
opposed to
yes.
rescind? Because
Something
it
like
has a
that.
very negative connotation that we're already adversarial
Well,
about,
actually-
right? That's my interpretation.
Well, actually, the motion itself is just requesting a corporate meeting, our Unite Mutual and third meeting together, and discuss whole details of it.
Right.
And those wordings are from Third Mutual's leadership. So I don't think we are basically really specifically vote 1, 2, 3, but agenda is just requesting, we are approving the calling the corporate meeting.
Well, that part I get,
Right.
if it would say that.
Right.
Because I
Well,
hate to be, I don't want to
yes.
be picky here, but
Michaela?
Yeah, so for clarification, it says rescind GRF resolution, not corporate members resolution. So you
Right.
guys would be rescinding the GRF resolutions that were approved at their meeting. Although it was pending corporate members' approval, those resolutions were assigned a number and were approved at the GRF meeting to then be presented at a corporate members' meeting for
oh, so they
approval.
put the cart before the horse?
Not necessarily. They're just going through their normal process, which is the GRF board has to approve an item, and it was over their limit of $500,000.
Right.
And it then was pending the corporate members' approval. So it was approved at the GRF board meeting, but would also, in addition, need corporate members' approval. So this is just rescinding their decision, not the corporate members' decision.
Okay.
Okay, I stand by my protest on the wording, but I'll back off at this point because this is not, I hear thanks for the explanation, but I apologize if I sounded like I was thinking GRF is getting away with something, but I didn't mean any of that stuff, but I still think rescind is inaccurate because this sounds like we're going in and saying, no, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that.
Okay, all right, Jeannie and Sue.
I completely agree with you. I think this is very adversarial in terms of whoever wrote this up already had in mind what they want to do. And that bothers me. We may get there, but this is written angrily and not considering, it's rescinding. We're already voting and having an us versus them mentality. We might get there, but this is not well considered. Now, what we choose to do with this is one thing, but we really need to be taking a more universal and collaborative approach on things.
Okay, Sue?
I voted to put this on the agenda to talk about it, but I don't think I'm in favor of this. We can't tell another board to rescind their resolution, and I think we have to, I think we need, they're following their proper procedure. They voted for it, they're going to go to the corporate, and then we could vote against those items if that is what we so choose. So, and I really don't like include an earmark of a minimum of $4 million for the replacement of Building E in the current budget. As far as I know, they're not doing anything with Building E.
That's right.
And so why would we put that in? Why would we say, give them a dollar limit when they're not even looking at this? I think we're trying to take away their power, and we need to just follow the process and vote against this if these items, if that's what we choose to do. If we say we don't want to install any EV locations, okay, we vote against it individually. If we don't want solar panels, we vote against it individually. So
Yes, Maggie, Ann, and Charlie.
Right. If we approve this, we get to vote on these items. And I think
But
that
only
is
to
what we
rescind.
want
Exactly.
to do. So they just put forth this proposal either way.
Yeah.
And we get to make the
Right.
vote, yes or no.
Wait a minute. Isn't that
Okay, just
what-
a minute, Charlie?
Yeah, well, my question, somebody here put $4 million for Building E, which has been tabled, which is under a current estimate by an inspector. So somebody's just saying, we want $4 million right now. It doesn't make logic or sense. And I would like to know which budget the $4 million, whose reserve that would come out of.
Okay, Georgiana?
It's not only that, the figure I had heard for EV locations was under $500,000, significantly. So it looks like they're wanting to move these top two items, get rid of those and put the money into Building E, which I thought was a dead issue. So, no, I'm not for this at all.
Can I
Yes.
just say too, I
Stella.
think Elsie was trying to mention this earlier, but the GRF board has plans to hold a special corporate members meeting to have the corporate members review and approve or deny the items in front of you, not item 3, but items 1 and 2 would be presented at a corporate members meeting, I believe, early July or mid-July. So there's already something in the works right now. We just need to get a date finalized.
Right.
Okay. All right, so, yes, Tom?
So then what, sorry.
So if I understand it the way it reads right now, this meeting would be to basically prevent items, to possibly prevent items 1, 2, and 3 from happening right now, but it would not be to approve items 1, 2, and 3. It would only be to rescind the GRF resolution, so that GRF would still need the corporate members' approval at another meeting if this was to go forward. Is that correct?
What you can do, you can change the language however you'd like, but I believe the purpose was to vote on these items.
Yeah.
So if you want to change the language, that's
Right,
fine.
that's fine.
But the purpose is to vote, is my understanding.
That's
I
right.
think so.
To approve or disapprove?
Yes, yes.
So
Yes.
GRF is on board with this?
Right. Well-
United is bringing this forward.
Well-
And then Third is going to bring it forward at their meeting.
Right.
To have the corporate members meeting. But we have to give them a purpose for that corporate members meeting.
Oh, yes.
So this would be
It should-
United and Third
Oh, yeah.
setting the meeting
Right.
to approve GRF's resolution, which
No,
would also.
it would be to rescind. So what this is it's saying that United and Third are rescinding these two items and then the addition of that third item.
Exactly. You can't, this would not be a meeting that could approve it. It could only rescind it, these resolutions.
Correct. It would just be the rescinding. Yes, that's correct. So what currently is going on is the GRF board is trying, like I said, trying to schedule a corporate members meeting so that the corporate members can vote to approve or deny those items they're going to present to you. What you guys are doing here is you're adding rescinding to this, and so it's at the corporate members meeting, you guys will only have the option to rescind.
Exactly. So if we rescind, if we have this meeting and rescind it, then GRF does not need a corporate members meeting in July or whenever because their resolution's been rescinded. If we don't rescind it, then GRF still has to have a corporate members meeting to approve these items in the future.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I don't know why we just aren't following the normal process.
So,
You know, why?
so
why-
we need to,
Yeah.
please, let me
Yes.
have the question answered first here.
Yeah, I'll have Catherine answer.
So what I'm suggesting, you can change this language so it's the actual vote on these items.
But as it stands now, it's not the actual vote to approve these items. It's only a vote to rescind these resolutions.
Based on how it's written right now, yes.
Thank you.
But I think the intent of this resolution is called a meeting to discuss those issues.
They're trying to call
And
a
how
corporate
to,
meeting.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But only only GRF can call a corporate members meeting.
That's why we are asking to.
no.
Well,
Well,
No.
we can go to
This
GRF and
is-
demand that they call a corporate
They
members.
have a right to schedule the corporate members
Right.
meeting, but you guys have a right to request and call for a corporate members meeting
Right,
from GRF.
right.
So that's
We
what
can
this resolution's for.
We can request, but, because I've been through this is not my first rodeo.
Right.
And I've just never seen this, all you gotta do is say, United requests a corporate members meeting to cover the following topics, blah, blah, blah. That's it. So
yeah,
don't
so
need
we
the
can
word
do
rescind.
that. I think we can change
You can
the.
change the
Yeah, can
language, like I
change the
said,
language.
change
Just
the
said-
language.
change the
Yeah,
language of this.
okay, because we can't rescind other people's,
Yeah.
we can argue about it, we can call a corporate members meeting, but we can't say, oh, we don't like the way you voted. Well, we can say it all we
Yes,
want.
let Maggie say.
I move that we strike the word rescind on 1 and 2 and follow the initial paragraph. United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors is requesting to call a special open corporate members meeting in cooperation with Third
Okay.
on those 3 items.
Okay,
That's right. And I second that,
okay.
yes.
That's amendment?
So I can have it be as entertain a motion to approve or deny resolution to install EV locations. And then number 2 would be entertain a motion to approve or deny GRF resolution to install solar panels.
Okay,
So that
Sure.
way there's
That's
the option for
okay.
both.
okay, all right,
Okay, either way.
Yep.
okay.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we ultimately get to this point because of the dollar value anyways?
Yes,
So why are we having 2 meetings?
because you have to agree to have it. If we say no, then they can't have a corporate members meeting.
Right.
But
Right.
we're the ones calling it. Wouldn't
So
GRF be
te-
calling this as a matter
Technically,
of
you guys
process?
could vote to not approve this item, and there will still be a corporate members meeting that's currently in the works at the moment. So you guys could just not approve this. This is just something that I think the third board worked with Matt, or with Mickey on
Yeah.
presenting.
Yeah, the thing is, Third and United Mutual, we have a real discussion of all the issues that is on hand about all the expenses, so on, so that we could strongly communicate to the GRF board that I think that is underlying, spirit of this.
Obviously.
Yeah. So, yes, Tom?
Okay. If we don't have this meeting and it goes to the, whenever GRF schedules their corporate members meeting, it will affect the budget process at this time.
Exactly.
Is that correct? Because they have to use these figures in their reserve fund in the budget. Is that correct?
No,
So I'll ask that, let Steve.
Steve?
So you're specifically referring to the reserve study? So how it's going to be maintained on a go-forward basis?
I'm referring to these three items that are listed here. The 1, 2, and 3, they're in the GRF budget right
Correct.
now. Is that correct?
Correct. So they had $500,000 or $600,000 set aside for the EV chargers that was approved by the board, contingent upon the corporate member approval, and then another $2 million set aside in the current year as supplemental appropriation for solar. So for, I believe, 4 locations for solar panel. So with consideration also for another $5 million to be added in the following year. So regarding timing, so if you have, I believe the tentative time was July 11th was going to be the corporate members meeting. As long as that takes place, we will have time to implement it into the capital plan. Actually, forgive me, the stuff that's affecting the 2025 will just be a supplemental appropriation. Once the corporate members, if they were to approve, then they would just move forward with spending the money. If it gets denied, then spending will cease.
So at the current time, though, when they look at their GRF reserve funds availability in that per year, this is being taken out, or being allocated, I should say, as an expense in that reserve fund, which will affect what they're projecting their balances to be.
Correct. So when these items were presented to the GRF board, we gave them a 2-year breakdown in terms of here is your balance as of the beginning of January 2025. Here's everything that is anticipated that's already been approved to spend. In addition, here is the proposals for the EV chargers as well as the solar, and we did the same thing all the way through to the end of 2026. So numbers could change depending upon the board's direction, but ultimately that was going to bring their 2026 year-end balance down to about $3.5 million for the reserves.
Okay, thank you.
Maggie?
This is a welcoming you to a meeting. If you don't want to have the meeting, then the corporate members can't vote. If you wish to attend the meeting, then they will take the corporate members' vote. If we don't, there will be no meeting.
Right. Okay, Sue?
First off, I want to find out if what Maggie's saying is accurate. I've never seen this. I've been here when we've had corporate meetings, and they just invited us. We said yes, and that was it. So we didn't have to have, I don't remember any resolutions being passed. So I don't think we just need to be patient and have them be invited. The other thing is I strongly oppose, as I understand it now, and Steve, maybe you can help me, number 3, include an earmark of a minimum of $4 million for the replacement of Building E in the current budget. That is not being considered, is it? No.
As of right now, the last direction from the GRF board was we had $7 million in the budget, and that was, we requested to have that removed. So, and that passed the GRF board, so that was stricken from the budget, and we don't necessarily have anything in the budget in the current year or in the future, anything with regards to restructuring of Building E.
So this would say they have to earmark $4 million, and so that means that we would be paying $2 million of that because they need the money, right, from us?
No. So this is all funding that would come from GRF in order to move forward. So I may be speaking out of turn, but I believe this is United and potentially a third's idea to assert your opinion that you would like to see movement forward from the Building E construction.
Yes. They've been working so many years for the e-building project, but because of other projects pushing EV and solar things, they don't have any more, the reserve fund available. That's why we, try for them to come back to the issues and try to prepare and get ready and for the building project issue, because we are, continuing to rent the space for the offices, so on. So, we know that e-building committee has been working so long, there is no resolution, and all of a sudden, they're jumping back to other project. And therefore, the GRF board seems to have their own way of going this and that. So that's why United Mutual and Third Mutual come together. Probably we have to place all those agenda in place. And that's the whole spirit of this meeting calling, I think. Tom and Jeannie and Maggie.
Yes, so there's a amendment to the motion on
Okay,
the floor
yes,
right now.
right.
If that's correct.
Right.
And if we amend this and pass it as is, then does that mean Third would have to amend it the same way? Or will theirs, even if they leave the word rescind in there, will the meeting still be scheduled, but you have two different 1, 2, and 3 versions? Catherine?
Our understanding is this was between United and Third. This is the information we were given, and this is what we...
So I believe the Third has not officially voted, I don't think. So if we change the wording and we act upon the resolution and send to them, and they will consider on the next week, Third board meeting, I believe, right? Okay.
But if you have a conflict in the resolution between Third and United, what happens, Catherine?
So United can call this meeting with this resolution, or however they amend the resolution. They still can call the corporate members meeting. It doesn't have to have Third, but you have Third listed on here right now.
At the meeting, you get to decide. This is just saying, yes, we want to go vote on this issue. If you don't want to go vote on these issues, then vote no. If you want to have a corporate member meeting on these issues, vote yes.
Right.
And then at the meeting, you get to vote for each item, yes or no.
Right.
Okay.
This is agenda-driven.
Yep.
And just looking at
Just
building A
agenda.
again, it's agenda-driven, and the prices we were given on the EV, I've heard much, much lower, so.
Okay, so there is a motion on the floor, right?
No one, I didn't have a second.
Do we have a second?
Never mind, Director Costello seconded.
Yeah. Do we have a second?
Costello did.
Yeah,
Okay.
it has a second.
All right.
That's been so long ago.
Right.
I know, me too, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and second on the floor. And are we ready to vote?
Could you restate it, the wording of it?
Request for special corporate members meeting.
Is the word rescinded?
Whereas the
Yes.
United Laguna Woods Mutual Board of Directors is requesting to call a special open corporate members meeting in cooperation with Third Laguna Woods Mutual and Directors, whereas the purpose of the meeting is to vote on the following: the installation of yes or no to install EV locations, yes or no to install solar panels, and yes or no to earmark a minimum of $4 million. If you want to go to a meeting that has those 3 items on the agenda, then vote yes. If you do not want to vote on those items and you do not want a meeting, vote no.
I have a question.
Yes. Ginny?
Would we eventually get to a corporate member meeting vote on these issues that would be generated by GRF anyways? Right. Thank you.
1 and 2, I don't know about 3.
Not 3, but 1 and 2 for sure. That's what I was trying to say earlier.
Okay. Tom?
But this amendment changes from just focusing on rescinding the GRF resolution to either approving or disapproving these items. The way it's originally written is you're only considering rescinding the GRF resolutions.
No,
And so
it
that is-
says
that-
to vote on, whereas the purpose of the meeting is to vote on. That means
Let me
if you
fi-
vote
let me
yes, one
finish,
thing
Maggie,
happens.
please.
Yes, yes.
When it says vote on to rescind or not to rescind, that is not voting to approve.
Right.
That is either voting to rescind GRF's resolution or not to rescind GRF's resolution. That is not approving the item. It is only yes or no on rescinding the item. With the amendment, you're now voting on the item, yes or no.
Right.
So
Right,
I would,
exactly.
I would object to the amendment because I would want further information. I don't want to have to approve or disapprove that item at this meeting.
Okay.
And therefore, GRF would have to have another meeting for the approval. This would only be to stop the resolution as is, except if you approve the amendment,
Okay.
then you're changing this meeting to an approval of the items instead of just the rescinding of the resolution of the items.
Okay, so we have
Vote
to
no.
vote first for the amendment, right?
Yes, can you repeat
Right.
who moved and who seconded the amendment, please?
Okay. Who, well, she moved.
And Jeannie
Jeannie
seconded.
seconded.
Okay.
Okay, so can you read the amendment, please? And we have to vote on it.
Sorry, you want me to read the amendment?
Yeah, please.
Well, Maggie just read the resolution as amended.
Okay,
So,
all right.
but for the three items listed, I put entertain, instead of, I crossed out rescind, and I put entertain a motion to approve or deny, and then it stated the rest, and I put it for 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
All
right,
So
so-
you guys will vote for the amendment
Right.
to the resolution first.
Okay, so approve for amendment. If you approve the amendment, say yes, otherwise say no. Okay, no has it. Then let's go back to main motion. All right.
The main motion is the same thing. The main motion is, do you want to go to a special corporate members meeting to vote on EV locations and solar panels and building E, as stated in 1, 2, and 3. If you don't wish to vote on them, then vote no.
Okay.
If you do wish to go to the meeting, vote
Okay,
yes.
okay.
So Maggie, just for
All right.
clarification, you guys are now voting for the original motion, which is without the amendments.
Right.
And as a reminder, if you guys vote against this resolution, there will still be a corporate members meeting.
Yeah, right, okay.
To clarify,
All right.
yes.
No, there won't.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
No, there won't. There won't. There won't.
But will it still have that, will it still have that
One and
third
two.
item in it?
It
No.
won't have 3, it would have 1 and 2.
3 was something that was created by the third board. This was not a GRF board matter.
Okay, are we all voted?
6.
One more? Who is missing?
It passes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right, we've finished 12, new business. Can we take a 10-minute break and then come
Yeah.
back? 13?
I think.
Thank
Have
you.
we talked through lunch? Yes. So you can vote. You can go and vote.
Very clear how important it is to the community to have that money in a bank account.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
It's on the bank account. It's underneath interested in
Yes, it is. It's always been that way. Nobody's changed it. Nobody's amended it. It's always been that way.
Okay, I'm working on behalf of the community. So I can either revise the recommendations. It's usually about 2 weeks.
We assure there's no money sitting there. She's okay now.
Okay, we will get onto the item number 13, United Committee report. First item is Finance Committee.
All
Mr.
right.
Prater, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Real quick statement before I go through this report real quick. I want everybody aware that we are definitely in our budget season right now. And please, there's ample opportunities to everybody to get involved at these meetings. So please attend when you see the budget workshops and meetings. It'd be very beneficial, not only to the village, but it'll help us. Thank you. Moving on. All right, slide 1. The period we're talking about right now is through the end of April 30th, 2025. Total revenue for United was $20.6 million, with expenses of $17.9, resulting in a net revenue of $2.7 million. Next. Okay. All right, we're keeping an eye on the operating costs always. We always try to do this. We're really looking at a lot of things. The opening fund without depreciation showed a surplus of $1.5 million through the reporting period. This table shows how much of the revenue went into operations, with $9.8 million coming in from assessments and $533,000 coming in from non-assessments revenue. This compared to operating expenses of $8.9 million. This next table takes the full income statement and compares those results with the budget. We can see United ended up the prior period better than budget by $751,000 when combining all funds. The most significant variances from the budget were attributed to the following. And this is actually getting better every month if you look at the progression here. Employee compensation, $440,000 favorable variance resulted primarily from open positions in maintenance and construction. Impacted areas include carpentry, paint, appliance, and plumbing. Recruitment is in progress to fill these positions. Little footnote here, so you don't, it's not that we're going without the work being done, okay? They have temporary helps that are helping us get the work done, so we're not really losing our scheduling effectiveness. Materials and supplies, $338,000 favorable variance, primary in maintenance and constructions due to the timing of invoices in programs such as interior components, electrical and appliances, which follow a 90-day invoice policy. Outside services, $116,000 favorable variance, primary in maintenance, construction, and landscape due to the timing of damage restoration billing, water lines work, and turf reduction. Hopefully next month we will have more insight on turf reduction if the state comes to, like they say, they will interpretation of that requirement. Utilities and telephone, $64K unfavorable variance due to higher water usage than budgeted in the first 2 months of the year. In addition, a higher trash rate than was anticipated. All right. This is a pie chart that shows the non-assessment revenues. Earning to date of $700,000. Revenue is organized by category, starting with our largest revenue generating category, fees and charges to residents, followed by investment income, laundry, and so forth. All right. This table shows the same $100,000 of non-assessment revenue as presented in the previous pie chart and compares it to the current year's budget and prior year's year-to-date actuals. This is the pie chart to see the expenditures to the date of $17.9 million, showing that our largest categories of expenses are for employee compensation, followed by property tax, outside services, insurance, utilities, and so forth. This table shows the same $17.9 million of expenses presented in a previous pie chart and compares it to current years and prior years' year-to-date actuals. Our fund balances are shown here. The contingency fund balance on April 30th, it was $637,000. Contributions collected $38,000, and no expenditures have been incurred to that date. The reserve fund balance on April 30th with 14.3, contributions, investments collected to $5 million, while expenditures were $3.7 million. We compared these non-operating fund balances to historical fund balances for the past 5 years on this chart, which have an average of $18.1 million. As you can see, we're starting to go up there now where we should be. This table illustrates the schedule of repayments of the temporary borrowing from the reserve fund. United's always kept a close look on this, as always, and repayment of borrowed monies from the reserve fund. On April 8th of this 2025, the board approved a temporary borrowing reserve fund 6.5. The borrowing monies are scheduled to be paid back in full by October 31st of this year. We have a table here showing the resale history for 2023 through 2025, though through April 30th of this year. United resales total of 106, which is 15 resales less than the prior year for the same period. The average year-to-date resale price in United Manor was $401, which is $29,000 more than the prior year for the same period time. Thank you very much for your time. I moved through that, but yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Ginny,
And it's not
all right.
necessarily directed at you, but where you break down the favorable and unfavorable variances. And I know that we think that anything in green is a favorable variance. However, when it comes to employee compensation at $440,000, I see this creeping up month to month, which asks the question, how, and it says specifically maintenance and construction, how long are these open positions staying open for? I mean, is there an aging that's happening here? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but are we having problems filling them? And if so, why do you think that is? Because at some point, service levels or damage restoration, something's going to fall off the table if we don't get these positions filled.
Yeah, and I don't have the specifics of that, but we will.
It's important that we ask the question.
Yeah.
Yes, the materials and supplies of 338 that go along with not having the people to use those materials and supplies. So it sounds like it's a good problem or a good thing to happen, but it's really waiting for the other shoe to drop here.
Okay.
So
I'll make a little comment on that. I know that they are working and have a new employment agency that's helping us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I think it may have started last month. But most of the monies that we see here, a lot of it, we have an opening, but we have outside vendors coming in to help with this problem.
Which
So
compounds the
would
problem
compound
because we're
some of
paying
the
an
money.
outside
Yes.
service
Yes,
on
but we
top of
still have the
everything.
money waiting for the full-time people there too. Yes, Tom. Oh, excuse me. Nope, it's on my meeting.
Yeah, I just want to say on that, your variance is to budget, not actuals.
Right.
And with the outside services, it used to be something around for every 10 vacancies, you could hire 9 outside, labor to replace them. So that's basically what's been done in the past. So you're basically losing one employee out yearly man hour or whatever, person hour.
Yeah.
For every 10 vacancies, you're losing one.
Right. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Move on to the Architecture Control and Standard Committee, Director Blackwell.
Okay, you heard from us this morning, and now we have for future agendas, solar panels, whether we still do those. We do ramps, we still do those. And we do a standard for stair lifts and the reversion to the alteration fee schedule. So we'll find out what we're going to do on those.
Okay.
Our next meeting is June 19th at 9:30. Welcome to one and all.
Continue on to member hearing committee, same Director Blackwell, please.
Okay, we had our usual member hearings meetings, and they're interesting and depressing at the same time, but we are recouping some of the costs that members need to pay us so that United can function. Thank you.
Okay, D item is same, that Director Blackwell is reporting on the governing document review committee.
Oh, yes. We are going to be talking about some election things this time. Whether we can perhaps publish the pink application forms somehow, because that has so much information. Our discussion this time will be, because there is nowhere else where all of that information is available to residents. If they go to the Globe, they've got 5 lines, or if they go to the ballot, they have only 250 words, and you can hardly get your job background and your educational background. We have had 6 or 8 people in the last 5 years that have written no job backgrounds on their ballot because they don't have room for the goals they want to achieve. And they have no educational information on the ballots either. So this information needs to be made available, and we can't put it on the ballots, so we're trying to find if we can possibly publish that application form redacted as the applicant would want. If they don't want us to know certain information, they can redact. So that's what we will be discussing at governing documents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What about next meeting? Meeting date is set?
in
June
next
9th?
week, yes.
Okay, thank you. Report of landscape committee, where is, well, she can probably come back. In the meantime, report of the maintenance and construction committee by me, but we have not met since April 23, which I already reported. So nothing to report, but we will have next meeting June 25th, 2025. Okay, our report of United Energy Subcommittee, do we have a report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I sort of feel like the illegitimate child here.
Oh.
Our energy committee has been kicked out of 3 meetings, so now we're scheduled for the 23rd. It's
Okay.
an open meeting,
Uh-huh.
and there's a lot of things going on in solar energy development, so it should be interesting, and our job will be to get investigate, research, and provide that to the full MSC committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Report of United Resident Advisory Committee, Director Willis.
Yes, our next meeting is this Thursday, June 12th at 4 p.m. in the Elm Room. And so if you have any items that or issues that have fallen through the cracks, that's a good place to come, and we can try and get it before someone who can help you.
Thank you. Okay, next item is H, report of United Revenue Committee. I'm supposed to do it, as you already know that we have gone through the long discussion, so I'm not going to make any further. But, well, as of now, while the staff is doing that, our recommendation, I don't think we're going to meet regularly, but whatever the result come in, then we will report. So we will have some recess as a committee. Let's go back to GLF committee highlight, item 14A, report of GLF Finance Committee, Director Prater.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We met on April 16th. As we just saw earlier with the amendment we just passed, it is exciting as that. So GRF is moving forward on Ting installment of the fiber optics, which everybody knows, and it's exciting news. And right now, the next committee, I'm sure will be very exciting too. So please come to these meetings and give us your opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. Report of community activity committees, Director Costello.
Thank you, ma'am. We met on May 8th. Our next meeting is June 12th, this week, right here. We are continuing to go through the GRF, a recreation policy. It is, as I said the last time, slow going. We have a lot of discussion about definitions of things and making sure that everybody's needs are being addressed in terms of the verbiage and what we are committing people to. Some of the things that we passed. Let's see. We have a billiards club donation to fund billiards table adjustments. It was rescinded. We continue to, again, look at the policy review, and that was it.
Thank you. Report of GRF Landscape Committee, Director Kwame is not here. Anybody else is going to report?
I wasn't there, I don't know.
Okay. Number D, report of GRF Maintenance Construction Committee. Well, MNC doesn't seem to work very well because we did not meet either. Well, we are meeting every other month, and we are going to meet tomorrow. So I will have a report next time. And Space Planning Ad Hoc Committee, again, we haven't met, so no report. Report of Mobility and Vehicle Committee, Director Costello.
Thank you. The committee met on April 18th. Committee met on April 18th in special session to vote on the procurement of vehicles, which I spoke about last time. The regular meeting was scheduled on May 7th. We meet again on August 6th. This is a quarterly meeting committee. But during the May 7th committee meeting, official committee or large committee meeting, the topic of the transportation services was brought up. It was not scheduled on the agenda, but somehow people found out about it because I've never seen more people in this room in my life. And that was a good thing.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing because there was a rumor, and how we found this out, there was a rumor that GRF is looking to defund the bus service. And the people who depend on this service came out in force, in mass, and we took the time, and we took a lot of time listening to members' concerns, their issues with a seemingly wonderful product like the Lift Boost, but when you have a wheelchair and the guy comes in and you can't put it in the back of his trunk, you've got a problem. So we listened to a lot of those things, then we went into closed session and talked about it. I'll refrain from any editorializing, but these people need our help, and they need a service that works, and hopefully we can find something that is both cost efficient but time efficient for these people. The amount of time these people sit on buses waiting for buses, for the bus routes to reconnoiter and come together. I hope we can improve that. Cost is one thing, but service levels are something completely different. Thank you.
Okay. And then report of the Security and Community Access Committee. Again, we met April. We have not met May, and we will meet on June 25th. So no report. And traffic hearing report, Village Traffic Hearings Committee. Director Kaylee is not here, but Blackwell?
I'm sure they met and gave out a few tickets.
Okay, report of the Disaster Preparedness Task Force. Georgiana?
This next meets on July 29th at 9:30 in the boardroom.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have some more updates and have more volunteers, et cetera, by then.
Thank you. report of the Information Technology Advisor Committee. Director Tuning?
The ERP system continues to be worked on and implemented piece by piece, so the sooner the better, but it's a long process.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are done. Our future agenda item, a revision to exterior paint color, recommendation to adopt the shrub replacement policy and approve an increase to the annual zero emission vehicle charge fee. All right, any other future agenda item? No? All right, then let's move on. Director's comment. We like to have a lunch, right?
Madam Chair.
Yes. Oh, yes, Charlie.
There was a lot of talk before we get to comments, and would probably be part of the comments. Friday's town hall status.
We'll figure out if we're having a town hall on Friday.
There we
How's
go.
that?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I want to definitely do a big shout out to you, Charlie, and to Steve, for you taking the time to roll back what was, while it was necessary, a more measured and calculated approach to what needed to be done, which was unfortunately to increase the charge to our members who are with electric vehicles. This wasn't overnight, and I know I hear that all the time. This was since 2016, so this was 9 years in the making. This is 9 years of people not taking the time to do what you guys did. And now we have a measured approach to manage it going forward, whether that increases, whether it decreases, it's tied to the electrical rates, but we feel comfortable in how it is being calculated. So thank you to the both of you for taking your lumps and coming back stronger and more measured. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will have recess until 1:30. Is that okay? Yeah, 1:30 we will reconvene the meeting. Until then, we're going to take the recess. Thank you.
And we have lunch upstairs
Yes.
for Elsie.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a celebrating